right, we're going.
Oh, I'm not in the right spot
Hello,
here.
everyone. Welcome to the stream. I'm Kim of Kim Fixes Things. And this is Buff of Buff Del Campo. You probably know that since you're already here. Welcome to our regular Tuesday night stream. I see quite a few people have already entered the chat. Thank you, Mexican Spec, Danny Boyd, and Olive.
You're right, it's a chord. Not an accord, but a chord. I said it kind of like it was a Honda Accord. It's not. It's a.
That doesn't look like a Honda.
A chord. It's a 1936 Cord Westchester, one of my favorites. Although that one's in the middle of restoration. There's no windows, there's no side pipes, which it's just a picture I grabbed. Oh, you can't hear us. What is the problem, Kim?
Oh, we had that problem before. Darn it.
We have no volume or something. I don't know. It looks like we have volume, but we don't have volume. Hello, Iceman. I don't know if you hear us or not. We have, we have volume problems. Yeah, Kim, maybe the volume just needs to be turned up because it looks really low over here in the.
It's doing a flashy. I'm gonna just do what I do every time it fixes it.
It's going to reboot the microphone. Iceman says he can hear. Maybe he's got his speakers turned way up. I can hear them. Volume is low. Yeah, okay. That's what we're trying to fix that problem. What did you do?
I unplugged it and plugged it back in.
Okay, see the green stripe there that shows the volume? It looks lower than normal. So is there a way to just crank it up? Does that make any difference? That doesn't look a lot different, does it? I don't know.
Maybe you're just sitting too far away.
Maybe I'm sitting too far from the microphone, but it's never had to be this close before. I don't know. How's it going now? Can Colleen says the sound is fine. Oh, Iceman says it got loud. Well, he had it good before. I don't know. We'll see how it is. I just got off the tractor, and I still got. Oh, that increased volume. Okay, good. I just got off the tractor, and I washed my face, and I still got grit and dust and crap in my eyes.
And the trees are dropping all their pollen. It's rough out there.
So,
I got stuff in my eyes too, and that's why I'm wearing my glasses, because this eye is too blinky.
See, it's been raining and raining and raining and raining, and we had like a break from it. I went out there today, and the lawn is like huge.
You got a late start.
Big fat leaves like this, and I was like, oh no, I wasn't gonna mow until I saw that. But it's up against the neighbors, and I know he doesn't want to see that, and it's up on the street. It's probably a foot tall by the street. So I want to at least get that in. And down the hill where nobody can see, I left that. I'm going to have to do that tomorrow or the next day. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. So I hustled on that lawn and it blew dust and dirt and bugs and everything. So, yeah, that Coffin Nose Court is a cool car. Amelia Earhart drove one before she did. Really? I didn't know that.
I've never heard that either. That's cool.
Yeah, I
Welcome
like
to the stream, Dogster.
I like the cord.
Colleen, hi. Sorry.
I like the cord, but that was a 36 and 37 year model, and then those dies from the firewall back were sold to Graham, the Graham cars, and oh, who's the other one? Anyway, and they used the back part on a couple of rear wheel drive cars, which was the Graham and the Hupmobile. And I almost like them better. Of course, they're rear drive. They don't have the coffin nose, but they got that back end. I kind of like it. Looks like that cord needs a bit of work. Yeah, I said it was. It's in a restoration process, I guess. What are we looking at here?
I'm drinking tonight. It's time for the drink report. The beverage report. And the beverage report says Red Powerade. This is my favorite drink when I'm drinking a cold beverage.
Mine is just about any diet drink, and I think I have some kind of diet.
Unless I go out dancing. If I go out dancing, I'll have a Red Bull. This whole red is like kind of thematic. What did you say your drink was?
I think it's root beer.
Just root beer?
It's a
Store brand root beer?
it's a store brand diet root beer. But
Okay.
I'm about out, so I've got a
You've got
Dr.
a different
Dr. Pepper down there that I can open if
Oh,
I.
it's a special one, isn't it?
Oh, it is a special one.
All
If
right. Well,
if I
when we
open it,
get
I'll
to
bring it
it,
up
we'll
there.
show you the special Dr. Pepper.
I'm a Powerade gal myself. Blue Powerade. Oh, there's blue.
Blue's okay, purple's okay, but
Used
red is just.
to be there was no blue food, but I guess there were blueberries.
I cannot do Gatorade. So Gatorade is in the Pepsi product family, and they put something in it. I don't know what it is, but I have allergic reaction. My tonsils swell up, and so I can't drink Pepsi. I can't drink. They sell everything made by Pepsi, every kind of different soda. I can't do it. So Powerade is not made by. It's made by the Powerade company. I don't know.
Danny Boyd, sorry, I was standing in the driveway doing some vape ribs and admiring my truck. I just came off the farm out there cutting like a couple of acres of grass, and man, was I hustling trying to get here on time. And I got all kind of dirt and weeds and stuff in my eyes. I washed my face. It still isn't good enough.
Powerade's
Um,
got the vitamin D3 or something. When you're out working and you start sweating, it's good to have something to
what's
give it
that?
back.
I think I'll go make a dirty martini. What's a dirty martini?
Dirty martini.
Nice.
I don't remember my mixed drinks. Feel free to tell us what's in a dirty
I
martini.
knew a woman years ago, and she went by the name Teeny Martini, and she had the little martini glasses. She drank a teeny martini, so that became her name. Let's see what else. Boy, what's that about? I missed something. Um, let's see. I don't know. You said, what are we going to talk about first? And I didn't come up. Oh, Gatorade is
We've
banned
already-
in Europe and Japan. Really? See, I like Gatorade, but I can't drink it anymore because it's got so much sugar. Man, when I was doing insulin, I was in a Lowe's store, and man, I felt like I was about to pass out. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this in the class that I took about if you go low, sugar low, you start feeling like this. And I didn't have any of my stuff with me. I couldn't check my sugar, but I knew what was wrong. And so I got a Gatorade up in one of those refrigerators in the front of the store, bought it, and I guzzled that whole thing down, went, sat in my car for about 10 minutes and decided I felt better and drove home. Checked my sugar and it was 41 after I drank a whole Gatorade. Can't imagine why I felt so bad. I'm lucky I did. It wasn't too long after that I quit doing the insulin. I lost 100 pounds, and that made a big difference. Dirty martini is 2 parts vodka, 1.5 part olive juice, and a dash of vermouth. Olive juice. Oh, olive juice. Oh, I thought it was. I read it as olive oil, thinking olive oil. Yeah, that isn't good. Olive juice. Huh. That's kind of interesting. Martini is half gin and half vermouth with a green olive. Okay, I get it. Yeah, my parents were into these drinks with names when I was a kid. My dad would come home from work and they'd have one drink and martini sometimes, and they had a thing called a highball sometimes. But I didn't. I don't know what all that
Mexican
stuff
Spec
was.
said they have a pet.
Oh, my wife put out a plate with tortillas, so I guess we have a pet. Either the dogs or the cats are bothering it. Yeah, something's. Oh yeah, I've had pets like that. That's how we got the cat. Cat was a mystery where it came from and a mystery where it went. Uh, what is this with she saying? I'm missing all this. Just standard martini with more olives, and then gin though, not vodka. See, I like gin tonics. Oh man, I like a nice cold gin tonic on a hot day, but I can't do that anymore. It's just like full of carbs. You're not supposed to do that. Vodka martini was shaken, not stirred. Gibson's just a martini with a mini onion. I've seen that. All these damn college bars. You got vermouth. Other kids don't have good taste today. Yeah, I don't know what they drink. Shots.
Colleen says it's time we start demanding better ingredients in our food and we vote with our money. If we
Bombay
buy the better
gin.
food, they'll continue to make better food. If they cheapen it up and change the ingredients, I don't know, send them an email or a letter and then don't buy it.
You know what I noticed when I was still drinking gin tonics? I'd drink Tanqueray, and the last few times I had it, it gave me a splitting headache. So I didn't know what it was. Well, later I did it again. Same thing, splitting headache. I went, okay, I'm not supposed to drink that stuff. And I kind of switched to some other gin. But then I think what it was probably the diabetes, and I didn't know that I was just poisoning myself with that stuff. Uh, to Mexico, and all her problems with food went away. She has now moved back to Oregon, getting sick again. Yeah, because our food's all.
Our food supply
Well,
is a mess.
since Kim and I have been here doing our shopping, not going out to eat, all that kind of stuff, we're I feel a lot better,
Yeah, and
and
we don't eat a lot of prepared meals. Mostly
no,
we cook things
we
from.
prepare it here, and
Yeah, it's a lot of work though.
yep, we just yeah, we just can't buy prepared food and heat it up, which is what I used to do, because I was always in a hurry. And I'm sure she will name it, and we don't eat animals with names. I swiped some gin as a kid from my folks and had the decency not to. Oh, I did that with some vodka from my parents. I had a little jar and I put vodka, and yeah, you get a stupid kid doing things, like that. Most of the street food you buy here is locally sourced and fresh, no preservatives. Helps the yeah, it's probably Rick Salmon. How you doing?
Welcome, Rick. I missed someone else. I saw they made a comment. Wait.
Oh, you
I think it
scrolling
was
back?
Ian.
Scrolling back.
I know I'm coming back
That's
though.
okay.
Ian Kelly said Gatorade is Pepsi, Powerade is Coke. I believe that. Thank you for being here,
Oh,
Ian.
I didn't know
Welcome.
that. Okay. So that's the stuff you drink? What is that?
Powerade.
So it is like kind of like Gatorade, only
So I don't know if
it's the Coca-Cola version of it. I
I
didn't
don't
know
know
that.
if it's the Coca-Cola. So but I know that the delivery people, the Coke delivery people will bring Powerade and the Pepsi people will bring Gatorade. So the brands belong to the relative.
I
It's
see.
all two choices. So
I'm all red looking under here, but it's not red. When I look in the mirror in the bathroom, all the red's gone. Why does it
yeah, I think I need to
shows up?
balance our colors a little
Something
bit.
here shows up that red. But the package I sent you is on the way to the U.S. In case I was looking at the
From the day that you said something, he's been watching the
I
tracking.
was
He loves getting
sitting
packages.
in the same post office in Mexico for a week.
I swear, when he orders something, he spends more time following the tracking than he does doing anything else the days he's waiting for things. He just loves waiting for packages.
Dr. Go. Hey, hey, Buff and Kim.
Welcome,
Big
Dr.
subs to
Go.
you guys. We hear you about better food making a difference in our lives. Yeah, it did made a huge difference. I mean, Kim will cook.
I
She
cook 3 or 4 nights a week.
she takes hamburger and ground turkey and mix it together. It makes patties and sometimes put vegetables and things in it. Cooks it on the grill. Really lightens up the hamburger, so it's not so
Too
beefy,
much red meat
and
is hard
it's
on the
really good.
it's hard on the pancreas or something like that. So yeah, we mix it down and I don't always cook hamburger. I cooked chicken breast last night. I seasoned that, although
That
it was
was
kind of
good.
tough. I didn't like it as
I
much
I
as I
had
wanted.
I had a good piece then. My chicken was good.
A lot of times I'll cook like a thigh or something like that. They'll have better flavor.
And what else did you cook that was so good? Oh, you took squash and split it down the middle. You
Yeah,
took
squash.
zucchinis and
So
put
we're
something on
gonna
it.
try and grow uh, green and yellow zucchini, which are great to cook on the grill. So we'll start getting them. They'll start all coming so fast we won't even be able to eat them all. The problem with them is they're really hard to preserve. Like you can't can them. They're awful coming out of a can. They're really only
Right
good
here,
fresh.
Dougster. make taco meat with ground turkey instead of beef. You know what? That's what we do. She'll put some ground beef in it too, but I've made it just with ground turkey, and it's pretty good.
I
And
think
I don't know
you
why you don't like that.
I don't think the texture's very good if it's
Oh,
all turkey. I like to mix it about 50-50. And the other thing is it gets a little bit too dry without the extra fat from the ground beef.
I like
But it's
spaghetti squash. Me too. Love spaghetti squash.
oh,
Jack stands and cinder
we
blocks.
should have
Hello.
grown spaghetti squash this year. We
You know
should see if
what?
we can find
I
some
have
seeds.
seeds up there in a pack, in a Ziploc, I think, with spaghetti
Out of a
ones.
squash that we bought at the store, maybe?
From spaghetti squash. Yeah, we'll see if it grows. I don't know.
Yeah. We should have already started those.
I like butternut squash, and they keep well for the winter in the cellar. We don't have a cellar. We got a crawl space, but I wouldn't keep any food in there.
Well,
Snakes will eat
the
it.
cellar is just good because it's dark and because it's you need it to be dry. It needs to be a dry cellar, and then the temperature is pretty stable. It's cool and it stays the same temperature.
Zucchini is good for zoodles. Zucchini noodles. Add some olive oil. I've never done that.
Crusher,
But
pepper.
spaghetti
Yeah.
squash, man, you can. That is. I can just sit there and eat a half a spaghetti squash for a meal, and it is so good. Uh, yeah, and I put a little butter on it, which I can have, and a little salt on it, which I can have, and my as long as my blood pressure's under control, which it is. Exactly, Kim. You said something that's exactly.
I don't know. I nailed it. So we have enough property here that we made a little plot. We picked the plot. The neighbor already had the we got somebody to help us till. I got our tiller going, so we it was pretty. That was good. We didn't record it, sorry. But
Oh, I recorded the beginning of it and I haven't put it up yet. Oh, I gotta do that.
maybe
Yeah, now it's too late.
I got the tiller going, and then we got some help to get it all tilled up. And
Hello,
oh,
Electra.
zucchini bread, maybe, but we don't do a lot of gluten.
Well, and the other thing with, like he says, Gordon's breaded fish fillets, the breaded is full of carbs, and I got to be really careful with the quantity there, and I can't eat very
Same with
much of
frying things.
it.
We don't bread and fry very much stuff.
We can fry,
I
like,
breaded and fried chicken a little bit last week,
yeah,
but like very light breading because he has to be and I used cornmeal to bread it.
it's still got carbs in it. We do lots of
Air
different ways.
fryer. Oh, that's what we need is
I
an
don't,
air
I don't
fryer.
have an air fryer.
All it really is like a hair dryer in a metal box. That's all
Okay,
it really is.
right.
It works really good.
We have heat guns.
Yeah.
I can make a box, but that's
I mean, we
probably not
could.
where we want to
I
put
mean,
food.
the thing of it is an air fryer is a pretty cheap appliance.
You know what? Danny Boyd says I'm a bread addict. Me too. I'm just not allowed to have it. So like every day I'm looking at. I still have. What are those crackers up there? Those little crackers.
Oyster crackers.
No. Oh, those too. Wheat
Oh,
thins.
wheat
Wheat
thins.
thins and bread, as big pieces of sourdough bread. Can't have any of it. I just crave that stuff. I walk in the store and you got to go through where all that is before I get to the vegetable part. I'm like looking. It's like, man, I want it all. Give me two of everything, but I can't have one of any of it. Uh, my mother-in-law makes zucchini crisp that uses
Zucchini instead of apples.
Oh,
That like apple crisp. I
oh,
don't
that
know. I
might
don't
be
know if we
good.
can make that with low enough carbs for his diabetes. But
Okay.
I'll look that up. And sometimes I'll use the artificial sweeteners, but they're just I don't know. I think they're sketchy to me.
For
I try
for
not.
for oil, what I like is
Danny
coconut
Boyd, you can't eat a lot of bread. Coconut oil is excellent.
coconut oil is what I
Jack
fry in.
stands and cinder blocks. Welcome to the stream. I don't know if
He
we've
was
said
here.
hello to
Yeah,
you
I did.
before.
You missed him. He
Oh,
was back there.
sorry.
Um,
That his name looks new. Am I
here's
just
well, he came in earlier and I said hi, but I don't know.
okay?
But hi again. I have to use a certain brand of cornflakes that doesn't have gluten. Oh yeah, I don't know. We had a couple of chats with Mexican, or I did with Mexican Spec on Instagram or something, and he said to me, he goes, "I hate having to do the math or how count things with food." It's like, yep, me too. He counts different stuff. He's the gluten guy, and I'm like the Kim's guy. That's what I was afraid of. Kim, what is that? I don't know. I've lost track of where we were. And flaxseed, we have flaxseed here.
Do we?
Lots of it, because that's what Nadia made. She
That's
has
his
that.
ex-wife.
Yeah, my former wife's name is Nadia. She had all this big bags of flaxseed, and I think we still have some, but she had a
I
thing
know I
that,
had to throw some of them out. They had
okay,
mice holes all through them. There might
well,
be some here though.
yeah, I don't know if I want it. It's probably old, but she had that machine that she'd crush that in and get the oil out
Yeah.
of the flaxseed oil.
Flaxseed oil.
She left that
My
machine here.
problem is when it gets late in the day and you're hungry, it's easy to just grab fast food. You have to if you want to change your diet. Why are we having a diet stream?
I don't
But
know.
if we
And
want to change our
you're
diet, I
waving
know
your
I
hands
waved my
around,
hands around and it made our thing do stuff.
that monitor is looking for people waving their hands around. Well, now it messes everything up.
There it goes.
Oh yeah, Jack stands in center blocks. I haven't caught you live before. I'm glad you're here. I don't know where do I know Jack stands in center blocks from?
He's a famous YouTuber, probably.
Tony's lives, maybe, or I thought it's it, but he was in here earlier. You just missed it. He was like back about 20 things.
I didn't get to finish my statement
Okay.
because I waved my arm and the TV. I can't move my arms or else the TV gets upset and starts throwing messages at us. But you have to prepare ahead of time. We go to the grocery store. I plan at least like 3 days worth of meals. I try and actually make extras so there's leftovers so that if you get hungry at night, you can be snacky. And then me, I can have some snacky stuff. So I usually have some ice cream before bed, and I have oranges because I just really enjoy eating an orange, and I, peel it. It takes some time and I can just kind of enjoy it. Um, but it's very satisfying. And
Oh,
yeah, we just try and have things around that we know we can snack on that are not going to make us ill. Because
Lester diet stream.
diet stream. You're right.
Yeah, I mean that's what we're Jack stands center blocks. I'm not famous yet. So
Me neither. None of us. What does it really mean to be famous?
for 100 pesos, I can buy hiccups. I can buy more than a week's worth of ground beef, and the wife makes hamburgers. Yeah, I don't like. I like the hamburgers when we put the, of course, 100 pesos. What's 100 pesos? That's like,
I don't know, but it's very
not much
relatable.
money.
If we go out and eat, it's going to be $15 to $18 each, realistically, for us to eat a meal. So that's like $35. And for $35, we can buy
$6.
4, 5, 6 days worth of food.
Well, see, for $6,
Better food.
$6, we're buying ground beef in the wrong place. There's a grass-fed place just outside of town, and they, everything is grass-fed, and we need to go out there. I keep saying that, we keep not doing it.
Well,
So when I get paid, let's go out there,
that sounds like a great idea.
and we'll buy some.
It'll be a little more expensive, but better quality, and we'll be supporting local.
And
there's a lot of local farmers here.
They have turkey, and they have chicken, and they have all kinds of things out there. It's about 125 pesos per kilo for the ground beef I buy. Yeah,
you're killing me. I don't know how to directly convert pesos
he
and
said 100,
kilos.
100 pesos is about $6.
Yeah.
So 125 is
$7.
Yeah, something like that. Dad and Grandpa were diabetics. Glad you were taking good care of yourself. Well, see, the problem was I wasn't. So I have some problems because of diabetes, but right now I am taking care of myself, and things are a little better. Got a doctor's appointment next Monday. We'll see. Oh, and I'm supposed to starve myself for a day before I go because they're gonna take some blood.
Oh, yeah, fasting blood work.
They're gonna take blood from me.
He's doing way better. He had no control when we because
Oh,
you were working away from home, you were eating out because even trying to eat out properly, you just can't because in the morning there's no food prepared, so you just have to grab something or you don't eat anything at all, and that throws you all kind of in a hunger. It's terrible. But you know what?
what?
This is a car stream. We're
I know,
supposed to
and
be
we're
talking
talking
about
about
car
all
stuff.
this food. Well, so what should we talk about cars? I should find another car to get a picture of, stir up some.
We've all got our things that we have to pay attention to make sure that we're healthy, that we have energy and good health so that we can enjoy our hobbies,
See, I can bring up
make
another
art and stuff.
art and stuff. Why doesn't this move? I didn't grab it
I
nicely.
ate out twice last week. Well, that seems reasonable, Danny Boyd.
Well, see, here's a, but I can't get
Oh,
it
I
to
can make it a
show.
little bigger from there.
See, that's a police car. It's a Cord, and it looks to
Oh, that's
me
us.
like it's, yeah, it was a Indiana State Police Cord. Good health means we enjoy our cars more.
Yeah.
Oh man, I had a terrible dream. We had a shop with a lift. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But some guy was there. I don't know who he was, and I was ready to push the Valiant in just over the lift so I could push another car in. And when I went to push the Valiant in, this guy had his car on our lift. And I said, "What are you doing? You know, I need that space for the Valiant. It's a dream, you know." And so then I'm busy doing something, getting another car to push it in. I'm gonna push the Valiant in. I look over there, and he's got the Valiant up on the hoist, but he's got the pads, like one of them right next to the drive shaft, and the other one way over at the edge. So the car's tipping, and he puts a post under it to keep the car from tipping off the hoist. And I said, I didn't want it up on the hoist. I just wanted in that space. So the guy goes over there and lets the thing down, but he left that hoist under it. So the Valiant fell down and broke it to pieces. And I woke up. It's like, man, I watched the Valiant get totaled. I didn't want that to happen. Oh, great. Let's talk dreams. Yeah. But dreams.
This is every day. This is every day. We talk about
Yeah,
the
but-
yard. We talk about the
Yeah.
diabetic diet. We talk
Ate
about
the world's
the
largest.
dreams I saw.
Yeah, the world's largest smartphone.
Monster.
Yeah, so at least it was yeah, so it was yeah, just a crappy dream because it broke
Well,
everything in that car.
I don't know though, but I would like to have a lift.
You know, I've
I think
worked
a
in
lift would cost more than that car cost us so far.
yeah, but we don't have room. Of course, the new roof we might be able to lift there because yeah, it says I saw a doctor on YouTube say you really need to fast 10 to 12 hours. Yeah, that's what she said to me was good long time, at least like 14 hours. So I'm just gonna cut it off the day before. And appointments in the afternoon, so I'll just go
I'll
in
take
there.
him to the doctor so if he gets a little weak or lightheaded, and then we'll have a snack afterwards.
A snack.
Yeah.
Better have about 4 or 5 hamburgers.
Okay,
no,
well,
no, I'm not gonna do that.
I'll have food for you.
Big you know what I really want? Like 2 big pieces of sourdough bread with all kinds of meat and cheese and lettuce. Oh,
You will be
man.
you will be so lazy for like 3 days if you eat that garbage.
My blood sugar will go off scale. They just told me to come in early morning before eating breakfast. That's close enough. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna just cut it off early in the afternoon, the day before. When do I go? Monday, so Sunday, and then go in Monday, and I don't know whatever
I
happens.
like Just Rolled In. Jack Stands in Cinder Blocks says when you've been watching Just Rolled In. Maybe that's why you have bad dreams. But
I don't know. I'm
but I like Just Rolled In because they always have messed up stuff that people do for cars, like bad decisions.
working in a place. There's a wheel alignment shop, and they had like 6 or 7 bays or something with the old hydraulic ram lifts that go up, and they had a British car on there, like a Triumph or MG or something with lug nuts that were chrome. late in the afternoon, trying to get the job done. The guy's over there, and he grabs the nut, and one of the nuts, the chrome was starting to peel off it, and that chunk of chrome cut into his finger, like down to the bone. Huge mess, blood. So they took him to somewhere, emergency place, to get some stitches. Well, then that night, the hoist started coming down. The guy had left his toolbox there, and it was under the corner of the car, so the car tipped on its side and ended up on its side next to the hoist. Same kind of thing. Yeah. You know, if you work in automotive shops, you're going to start seeing some stuff like that once in a while. So it's ready to do it. Stop me. I can't explain it. What is this? I always told me to come in early in the morning. There's a sandwich chain here in Michigan. They make huge man-sized sandwich, but instead of bread, they wrap in lettuce. You know what? When she makes tacos, that's what I do. I take a big piece of lettuce and I put all the taco stuff in it, and I eat it in a piece of lettuce, and it's pretty good. Yeah, it's actually really good, but it's really messy, but it's good.
Yeah, and then like a couple weeks ago, we went to look at a little pickup truck, pick me up truck. I thought it was going to have a motor for the Bronco, which it didn't, but that's okay. We were out. We went down to Dixon, and we were on our way back, and he was getting hungry. He says,
Oh,
"Oh, there's a gyro place. There's a gyro place." So we stopped, but they had salad, and so there was no bread.
oh, but I didn't. I got one that had a wrapper on it. I
It
got the.
was
I
good.
was gonna get the salad, and then I got the number one, which is their original
A lot of places will make you a really good dish that doesn't have a
gyro.
lot of bread, and
Oh,
you
it's
can
good.
enjoy it thoroughly without killing your sugar.
That was good, and I probably had a little bit too much, um, too many carbs there, but I didn't eat much the rest of the day, so I
You know
don't know
what?
if
I
I.
think it is supposed to be pronounced something else,
Yeah,
but where I came from, all the dumb people who do not know called it gyros. So anything else sounds strange to me.
well, see, and I was told it was Euro, like almost like European, but like almost a J, Euro. And so I've tried to pronounce it right, but I don't know. She always says
It's a
gyro.
gyro, damn it! I know it's not, but
Gyro's
my
the thing that spins that has a hard time changing directions. Uh, let's see here.
I'm
All
not
my
a southerner. I'm from the north. I don't know why we call it the wrong thing. Guns and Gears, welcome to the stream.
You had it about right. I'm dead. She probably knows. It's what, like Euro, only kind of with a J, Euro or something. I don't know. It's some thing that American English doesn't make that noise to begin with, so I kind of have a hard time with it. It's like anybody else speaks a foreign language. You know, they're like my former wife. She was Russian, and she butchered some of the sounds. Like in Russian, there's no W, and we had a lot of words that have W, and she really struggled with that. Ooh, she couldn't make that noise, you know. Makes me I realize I'm in a dream, and then weird stuff happens. Yeah, yeah, a dream. I wake up. It's like if it's a good dream, I want to go back, and I can't. That, let's see here. Yeah, about right. Yeah, all I know is never say. If you say gyro, the person behind the counter will correct you. You know,
You're
I,
never going to get it right in
I think
everyone's eyes.
I think it depends on who's behind the counter. The guy that was behind the counter down there in Dixon, he was obviously not American. He was an immigrant, and I asked him where he's from, and he says, "I'm from Egypt."
Well, that's right.
And I'd eaten in there before,
He had a
so
pretty heavy accent, and he had family come in while we were eating. His
so I said, "Well,"
girlfriend or wife come in with their kids.
so he says, "I'm from Egypt," and I said, "Well, we're glad to have you here." He's in there
Nice little
making
local place. The guy's
nice little
running it,
locals.
running his business, hard at work, making good food for us. Price was fair. I wish I knew the name of the place. It was great.
Yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. It's right next to the what's the car, the parts store. It's right there.
I'm sorry. I don't know, but that they
It's
just
the
have a big
same
sign that
parts
just
store
says
we
like
have up here.
gyros. Like you gotta love it.
And there's a phone repair place right next there, and I'd been in there before and got my phone fixed, so it's kind of funny that we just ended up there.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that is
we get
technically Greek
New
Greek
England
food.
sounds too much like Hero, which is like New Jersey for sub or grinder. I was out in California in the Air Force, and we had this little place we call the Snake Pit. I don't know what the real name is. It was a bar and like bar food, and they had uh, what's another name for a sandwich? I was going to tell a story now. I can't remember. Uh, what's another name for a sub sandwich? Something from the it's a Philadelphia name. I can't think of it now. Somebody will come up with it. Jeremy Clark said Germans can't pronounce squirrel. There's a helicopter that's a French helicopter that means squirrel, and it's a weird sound, and they can't pronounce squirrel either. Different people say Hero is about like asking someone what engine oil they use. No, we're the same. You have a dream, or you just about make it up. Oh. Christine Brinkley.
Christy Brinkley?
Yee.
What year is Christy Brinkley from?
Uh,
I'm sure she's really nice, but just
Not a
saying.
sandwich, a hero. No, what was the one? Hoagie. Well, anyway, I walk in this place and they had hoagies. It's on the menu. Hoagie. I had no idea what a hoagie was. I'd never heard that before. So,
Really?
so yeah, because I wasn't from. I was from the West Coast, and I'd been to Texas, and I'd been up the East Coast before, but just traveling. But yeah, I'd been to school in Illinois, and then I ended up in California at Travis Air Force Base, and they had hoagies, and I didn't know what a hoagie was, but I learned. I thought it was a silly name, but then when I got back east later in life, I was working back east. I went, oh yeah, okay, they're hoagies here in Philadelphia. That is what they are. The other thing is a Philly cheesesteak, the real ones. Oh man, are those good? But that's like a big thing of carbs.
All right, so I'll give away because I don't even live there anymore, and I think that they're still there. They were there for a very long time. Where you can get a good hoagie in Pittsburgh, right? There's a place called, I think it's called the Triangle Bar because it's one of those buildings where the streets are not at right angles, so the building is narrow, um, at like it's like a triangle, and they sell hoagies that are they call like battleships or destroyers, and they're like long and really wide, and they got lots of meat and lots of cheese and lots of lettuce and dressing, and they are fantastic.
What are all the names of the sandwich places? There's Subway, and then there's a couple of new ones. Or
Subway's not real.
no, no, no,
Subway's just
no.
a
I'm just
chain.
I got a cheesesteak at one point in Pittsburgh. It was pretty good. Um,
They can make a pretty good
oh
cheesesteak in
man,
Pittsburgh. I think that's a Philadelphia
not
thing.
Quiznos. That's a West Coast one, but it's one that I think started east, but they're all over now. They were in Arizona. It's Jimmy Jimmy John's.
Jimmy John's,
I
that's a
don't know. Yeah,
chain.
right. There's one that has like just full of chopped up lettuce and oil, and oh man, are those good. But there was one in Yuma. No, not Blimpie. I've been had those too. But the I can't think which one it was really. It was in Yuma. It was just outstanding. So I used to go down there, and it was about a mile from my shop there. So I go down there and get that. But that's no good for me. But it tasted good. Man, those were good. And of course they have foot long, and then it's a place that has foot long, and then they cut it in thirds, so you get a third or 2/3 or a foot long. And I used to get the foot long, and about 2/3 the way through it, I was so full I couldn't eat anymore, but I ate it anyway. Man, those were good, but no more. Jimmy John's has the unwich with lettuce instead of bread. Jimmy John's, what's the one I'm thinking of? Man, I don't know. Yeah, I could drive to it, but I don't know the name of it. Here we are. Somehow Yeah, Jimmy John's does the one wrapped in lettuce. I do that. Actually, the outside lettuce, I like to chop the lettuce all up, make a salad, but I like the crunchy part. So the outside part is really good for making a sandwich or whatever those things you make. Tacos.
Tacos.
Taco made in lettuce.
We haven't had tacos in like a week. That's a long time for us.
Jersey Mike's. It's good but expensive. Man, Firehouse. They had a Firehouse sub out there in Yuma and they closed it. Yeah. What's the other one? Jersey Mike's. That's the one I like so much. Jersey Mike's. I think that's it. Man, Firehouse makes something I like. Their Italian subs very missable.
What does missable mean?
What does missable mean? Tuna salad on romaine leaves are good. Yeah, I like tuna.
Everybody must be hungry. Is it dinner time?
See,
Have
we
been
start
talking
off
about
food, and we decided we had to work over the cars, and then we kind of drifted
Back
back
to
into
food.
food again. I haven't had tacos in a week either. But I had nachos. Oh, nachos. I can't have nachos. Oh, we go eat in a Mexican restaurant. That's like just a carbohydrates restaurant. But you start off with nachos. Man, are those good?
Has anyone actually cooked with their car engine? I have not.
We used to put on a Y block Ford. There's a crossover where the exhaust goes underneath the carburetor. You can wrap a potato in foil and put it there and go somewhere, and potato's done when you get there. And people thought we were crazy, but we did it just to be stupid, just stupid kids.
Dr. Go, I agree. If you can find local places that use, fresh ingredients and make the food in-house, you might pay a little more or the same amount as the chain places, and it might take a little, like there might be something special about it. It might be a little bit out of the way or something like that. It will be worth it because you're supporting local, you're supporting the people who own the place, who run the store and make the stuff. They care. They don't want people to get sick. They're not just taking food out of a box and handing it out a window. Like, find the good local places and hype them up, And if something's wrong, like, ask nicely. Like, hey, this isn't really that good. Can you fix it? Or what's wrong? Or whatever. Or, I don't know. But there's not enough local places. This whole thing with making $20 minimum wage out in California, the only good thing that might come out of that is that entrepreneurial people start their own restaurants and food places and pay themselves well and then make good food for people. That would be a good
Says
outcome.
here, Mexican Spec says, why can't you have nachos? They have corn tortillas with 2 cheeses and beans. The thing with corn is corn has a lot of carbs, and corn tortillas I can eat 2 of them, the little tiny ones. I can eat 2 of those, and I'm at my limit for the day. So the nachos, and I have to really limit it, and it's like you can't eat like 4 nachos. You got to eat a whole bowl of them. So yeah, that's bad. Yes, would be shocked how cheap street food is here, and how I bet it is. Go down there and take some insulin with me and go eat. Try some
Yeah.
fresh corned beef brisket. I have corned beef brisket in the freezer. She doesn't like corned beef. I really like corned beef, so every once in a while I cook a corned beef, but then I eat it. Oh man, this itches.
Yeah, we don't buy the flour tortillas at all. And the corn tortillas, we eat them, but gently, in moderation.
I got a tick on me somehow,
Oh, we forgot about the tick.
and
Ooh,
now
look out for ticks.
now
It's the
it
season.
itches. That's like full
That
24
sucker
hours.
was right there, and
Full
he's itching,
24
itching,
hours
itching, itching.
ago, and it
He's like, "Can you
itches.
look at this? I'm itchy." And I thought it was a little red scab. Here, it's a little red tick. So he
Like-
stoked it in alcohol until it almost wanted to let go, and then yanked it off. But he's been itching for 2 days now.
Yeah, it says white bread has a lot of carbs. Yep, it does. when I got really sick, remember I had the kidney infection? I wanted you to get some white bread, and I ate it because it was just about all I could eat. And I ate a couple little pieces of it, but I really couldn't eat it. And then you ate it, which I'm glad you ate it. Don't bring insulin here. Buy it here. Yeah, I don't buy insulin at all. And I don't know. Do you need a prescription for it in Mexico? You gotta have a prescription here. It's just a big nightmare to get the stuff. And
Getting your medical needs here
I
met
started.
is always a trial.
I'm running out of one of the things I need, and the doctor's appointment isn't until Monday, so I'm running out of.
Yeah, but they might
What is
be
it? I'm
willing
what?
to fill it.
Oh, wait a minute. What is it? I'm
Oh, I
running
don't
out of.
remember.
I'm running out of. Uh,
I don't talk about my medications
one of the
stream.
things for blood pressure, amlodipine, and
I forgot to
and you
tell
know
you, you should
what?
have called them
You know
today.
what? I found a bottle of amlodipine from Mexico, but the dosage is wrong, so I'm gonna have to cut those in half. But I do have some, so I'm back to Mexican meds. Can't find those taco shells here. I like depended on it. They just aren't here. What are those? I don't know what he's talking. I missed that. Um, no prescription for insulin. Oh, that's good. See, we're in Mexico. I can just buy this stuff. Just start shooting up insulin and eating all the carbs I want. Yeah, I know. I know somebody that does
You need
that.
a
Sitting
prescription
there
for
eating potato salad, putting insulin in. And I was like, what are you doing? See what they've done in Mexico, where they cook a lot of corn tortillas anyway. At my family's property, there are aluminum boxes with holes in them in the river. Oh, that's the cooler for the beer. That makes sense.
Oh yeah, when you're out boating, that's how you cool your beverage.
Man, I used to live in this. It was out in the country, to say the least. It's out in Las Padres National Forest. Right next to it, we had a runway, and a couple of us were building airplanes. And a friend of mine from Switzerland was sitting there, and we were drinking beer, but it wasn't very cold. And I had a microwave. I had electricity run over this little shed I made, and there was I had a microwave. So anyway, this guy from Switzerland, I said to him, man, I said we need something like a microwave that'll cool as fast as that microwave heats. And this guy reaches over and he unplugs my microwave and turns the plug over and plugs it back on.
Amazing.
I'm thinking, yeah, that'll work. Yeah, pop gets mighty cold. It depends on the river. I lived in the Southwest where water was pretty warm. Heart shows you killing your friend eating carbs like drug. Yep. I've seen this. Somebody sitting there shooting up insulin and checking their sugar while they're eating potatoes and stuff. Potato salad.
That's got to be hard on the body.
You know who that is?
Yeah, I remember you telling me stories about that.
Yeah, Americanized Mexican food, or maybe another part of the country. See, that's another thing. Some like Mongolian beef in the U.S. is nothing like Mongolian beef. That was all invented by a guy in Taiwan. He was Taiwanese, and he was here, and he's the one that started all that. And I had a friend that was from Mongolia, and she's like, "This is nothing like Mongolian beef." Okay, so she goes, "The beef here doesn't taste like Mongolian beef because they raise it out in the grass, and they're grass-fed animals, but she goes, they cook it in water. They just boil it in water." And it's like, man. So she made me beef kind of like Mongolian, and then she goes, "We got to get some Mongolian beer." And she goes, "They make it from horse milk." I'm like, oh. I'm not sure I want any of that beer.
I don't think crunchy tacos came from Taco Bell because I remember as a kid eating them, and I remember
long before Taco Bell.
Yeah, before Taco Bell. So I think Taco Bell just took some things and started making. I also remember when Taco Bell had 49-cent tacos when they were
That's
new.
it. Oh God, boiled beef. That's kind of what I thought. But she boiled it and said, "This is how you do this." I'm like, okay. But Mongolian beef in the U.S. is really, you know what it is. They cook it there and it's spicy, and it's just a whole different thing than what they eat in Mongolia. What's my next project? Oh man.
Oh, thank you, Jack Stands and Cinder Blocks.
What
for
do I
re-
want to be my next project? See
Well,
what
what are we working on right now? Let's talk about right
Taco Bell
now.
was founded March 21st, 62.
You are not that old.
I am.
No, no,
Six,
but
62, I was in second grade, and we had a neighbor across the street, and she made tacos. It's the first tacos I ever saw, and they were crunchy tacos in like small shells, and she dipped them in oil and fried them. They were good. And then Taco Bell came around, but it wasn't. I was in San Luis Obispo, and there was no Taco Bell there for probably 10 years after that.
yeah, the same within Pittsburgh. You know, when I was a kid, I remember when they were opening the first Taco Bells
Yeah.
in my area, and I don't think they invented it.
I knew an asthmatic that used an inhaler while smoking.
Oh yeah.
When I was in Ohio, we lived in an apartment. And there's a woman there that's on Social Security, and she'd be running out of money, and she'd be borrowing money from my former wife, and she'd give her money, and then she'd go to the store. She had a oxygen bottles, like a little trailer. And there was a store real close. It'd take her forever to walk over that store and get her cigarettes, and she'd be puffing on cigarettes and had an oxygen nasal cannula thing, thinking, why doesn't she blow up? I can't believe she's doing this. Uh, $6 for a dozen tacos. That was living. Grab a box of
I
those.
remember the dozen tacos.
You know what I used to?
I think it was $5 when I remember.
You know what I used to buy in dozens were what are those little burgers?
Oh, like White Castle kind of burgers.
White Castles, but I like the other ones. The I can't think of the name. Somebody from the south.
We're still stuck on food.
Yeah, we got okay. Back to what I want to do. Kim bought this piece of junk.
77 Cordoba. You can't get a windshield.
Really?
Make one out of plexi.
Not plexi, make it out of Lexan.
Lexan, yeah.
The Lexan, the thing about Lexan, make sure you get one that's got a hardened coating on it, so when you wash it, even so, just spray it off with water. Don't ever rub it, because it'll start getting swirly looking. Okay, let's see. I saw your yard tour, so it looks like you can choose whatever you feel is priority at the moment. Flexibility. Yeah, okay. So there's a blue. What is that thing? It's a Spitfire. That's not spitting any fire right now, but I want to get that thing going.
We've never tried to get it going yet. I bought it last year, and
Well,
it's just sitting there as for a future revival. But it's kind of on the back burner. We're right in the middle of rebuilding the front end.
Crystals. Oh, Drab got it.
Crystal burgers.
I
Yeah.
used to buy like a dozen of them in a bag.
All right, no more food. The Valiant, the front end, one side is rebuilt, the other side is not. We have the parts to finish it now because we're waiting on tie rod ends. So that is pretty important. And the reason we have not done that, the reason that is sitting idle, is because we can't even fit it in the garage because we got too much crap. So we're getting an addition, a shed, a double bay shed built on going down the hill beside the garage, which I think I sort of hinted at in the walk around. And so, like today, right now, there is sheeting on the roof that is 24 feet by, what did I tell you? 24 by.
Oh, I walked over there. I can do the
Okay.
John.
So it's been raining, so the workmen only can come and work for a couple of hours. And then, on a day where it's supposed to rain, they don't even come. So it's like it's going. But, oh, there you go. Here, I got the side camera. I can click on the side camera.
Stick this. We'll do a John Wilburn.
Oh, the side camera's broken.
Oh, so no work.
Yeah. Okay, here, so I'll hold it up there. I'll walk over to.
You'll walk over to the other camera.
Okay, here you go.
Girl in my high school drove a 1980 black one with red interior.
Cordoba?
See, it was the last Cordobas I think that I.
Okay, here comes the picture, everybody. We have this much.
Oh, what'd you do? You zoomed it in.
Oh shoot! Let's see if we can fix that. We have this much roof, and there's the lost fire in the background. We have this much roof. Oh.
Yeah, and it's reflecting something else off of it.
Well,
But
this is
anyway,
the
yeah,
jankiest
that's
thing
it.
you've ever seen.
That's it.
And so once that's once we're under roof like that, we will be able to make space and get back to working on vehicles, which I'm excited about. And I did get the Dart cleaned up enough to dry to like roll around the yard and run. And I washed the paint a little bit, which I feel really good about because I bought that car from Uncle Tony and it just sat under a tree. Like we were busy with other things. We were trying to get the Valiant ready to put a turbo on. I don't know if we're ever going to get to that. It feels like the never ending project.
Mexican Spec, where did you get a windshield made? Somebody made him a windshield. It was probably somebody that already had whatever they do to form the glass over it, and so he ordered it and they made one. Maybe I don't
So
know. I would think
there
they'd be
was a
able to do this
company
stuff.
up in Ohio that made windows that closed down. What happened is it started to get so cheap to buy windshields from overseas that the domestic manufacturers couldn't compete, and they were the only windshields that they were able to make were like really specialized stuff. So they made a bunch of them and then they went out of business.
I'm going to show you the Cordoba I like.
Yeah, so once the stock runs out, it'll be a while for the the value of the windshield to come up to where it's worth them opening new business to
That's the Cordoba I like. That style.
Cordoba. That's not really.
I think that's an 81. It is.
Yeah.
That's an 81.
Well, that's like Aspen, Volare, Cordoba. Oh, I forget the
Yeah, that is a
platforms.
300. That is a 300. So it's a Cordoba. Oh, I don't know.
I remember the
I didn't,
Cordobas,
I didn't.
70s Cordobas with the round lights.
Here's another one
Mini Doba Gen 2, yeah.
this is another one that picture. See, I really like these and I was looking for one for a while. Of course, that's so,
Zoom out a little bit.
I can't zoom out. That's
Oh,
it.
okay.
It's a big
Shoot.
picture.
Darn
It is a big picture.
it. All right, you got me working. I'm working on it.
So,
Let's see if I can get it.
I don't know.
I can do it.
That's what this is, a Cordoba LS. Had the special front end like
It
that.
has an LS engine in it?
Yeah, they just called it an LS.
I hate they call everything LS. I hate it.
Well, that was long before General Motors had an LS.
I know. They called everything LSs. Why they named that motor
Okay,
an LS?
80 was a 300, 81 and 2 was the LS. Okay, well, I saw one of those one time. I go, man, that's a car I want. Because, it doesn't have to have lean burn and all that crap. Not here. I could put my 318 Poly in. That'd be a nice car. Yeah. Although I don't like the dash on it as much as the earlier one.
I guess if we found one that was nice. Oh, you know what I found on Marketplace not too long. I shouldn't show you because it's what's going to happen is somebody else is going to snatch it up.
Okay,
But I'm going to do it.
Here's the dash, which is not my favorite thing. I don't know. I don't really like that tilted in, slanted dashboard, but I guess I get used to it. But I sure like the looks of that car. What is the license plate on that red one? Oh, what's the license plate on the red one? I have no idea. I'm going to have to go back and look. What is that license plate? Looks like it's flipped over upside down. Don't know.
Oh. It says USA, but it says it upside
Oh
down.
yeah, they flipped it over.
What was it, a Rampage?
What? See, I remember those and they're brand new, so I just think they're all over the place, and they're not. They're all gone.
Those.
There
Oh,
might be
man.
one somewhere,
And if you find one, it's all
somebody gonna
sun
want
deteriorated and everything.
somebody gonna want a fortune for it.
Yeah, they're pretty rough. Pretty rough. Here it is. Here it is.
Oh, oh yeah, I looked at that. my eyes went right to that because I like Utes. I like El Caminos and Rancheros, and I almost bought one of those new, but that one is a piece of that one's hurting. You go
That's
around the other side and there's like rust holes you can put your fist through.
yeah, but that's what you find. Well, you're saying like, oh, I like that, but this is what's out there.
Well, yeah, see, but if you go to somewhere like
Texas.
Arizona, there's not a spot of rust, you know.
Well, we don't live in Arizona.
But we can go there. I mean, you know, take your trailer down there, or go to Mexico. Go down to yeah, but this is why buy one that's like got giant rust holes in it when I can go to Mexican Speck'll find one.
Mexican Spick once. This is $1,700. Can you find us one of these that isn't rusty for $1,700 Mexican Spec? And then what are we gonna pay in shipping? We're gonna pay that much again just to get it here.
Well, we'll get to go see him.
I
Of
just,
course, he takes it to the border, so.
I mean, and for that kind of money, you can buy a real car that's like, you know, $3,500. You can
I'm
buy
look-
something that's a long
I'm,
way.
I'm looking for pictures of. I'm looking for a specific picture of one of those things that was for sale in Yuma just short time ago. It was for sale when I was there,
I like the
and then it
Subaru
came up for
Brats too,
sale.
but they're
Oh,
although I don't know. The Subaru engine with all the trouble that I have with that Subaru Outback engine, I don't know if I want another Subaru right now. The problem with that Rampage is the automatic transmission. No, it isn't, because it won't be long before we put that 318 poly
yeah,
in
the
it or
other
something
the
like
other
that.
the,
Like we ain't gonna leave it like
the
that.
other end will be driving. Oh, I don't know. You just leave it a front driver.
Omni and Rampage parts are hard to find, right? There's not a
I
lot of them
cannot.
sitting around.
I cannot find the picture of the Rampage I want to show everybody. It's probably on my phone.
You really want the manual though. Just spotted that. You know, I liked a manual when I was younger, but I'm getting to where driving is hard for me because I have some neurological degeneration. I have brain damage. And driving is hard.
You know, I had a 79 Omni, the little four-door boxy car, looks like a kind of like a rabbit. And that thing had the 1.7 Volkswagen engine in it, not the 2.2 Chrysler.
Mm.
But the outside, all the stuff on the outside, it was Chrysler, so it was just it was kind of a weird engine. But it had a 4-speed in it, and that thing was, it's like somebody said one time, a writer in a magazine said, "little balls of friction," and that's just how that shifter felt. But it shifted real nice. But my former wife got the car, so it's gone. I got the payments, and she got the car. That didn't seem right. Oh, Kim, do you get an automatic small front drive car? Is that old? They were no good from new. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, you know, you're not buying so much
Well, then, yeah, but then
the vehicle. You're buying the maintenance history
who had
on a vehicle.
the Ratfink,
Oh, the Bratfink.
the Bratfink. That is
now I feel dumb because I can't think of it.
oh,
either.
we sat there with him at No Name National for
yeah,
hours.
they were great. It'll come to us, but
Yeah, he's over in Eastern
I better
Tennessee.
Google it because I'm gonna be in trouble.
He's over in Eastern Tennessee. I drove that Omni Stick too, but yeah, Omnis. I really liked that Omni when I had it. It was a little boxy car, but man, and that one had a leather interior in it. It was just it was a classy little car. Yeah, it's a Subaru Brat, but he calls it the Bratfink. And
Clint Street Machines.
Clint Street Machine. It's Clint. He's the one that had the Bratfink, that thing sitting there like this.
With a
facing
tunnel
nose
ram
down.
engine, and it wasn't even running or anything like that. It was just like fitted up
just-
in there to show what it was going to look like.
he
Great
just-
big wide ass tires on it.
Yeah, it was on a Chevy S10 chassis, I think.
Was it?
Yeah, I
Yeah, he
think so.
does work on S10s, so I guess that makes sense.
Yellow's very comical. You know, my 79 Omni was kind of a turquoise color. wasn't that teal. It was lighter than that, and the interior was like the same color leather. It was what a nice car that was, but went away. Let's see, the GLH Turbo Shelby stood for goes like hell. Really? I didn't know what that meant. That sounds about right. Man, I don't have pictures of that one. There was one in Yuma for sale. The little pickup. What's that little pickup called that you have up there? The Rampage. And somebody chopped the top down about so it was about this high. Man, did that thing look good. The only wrong with that car was they put uh, probably Lexan side windows, and it was too thin. It was like probably 40 thousandths. They were really wobbly windows, but I could fix that. I avoid Omnis and Chargers when I was buying and selling cars. Too many problems. Yeah, that's probably the case. When I got mine, it had 40. I think it had 38,000 miles on it. It was not quite 2 years old, so it was a nice car.
Yeah, it's a whole lot different when you're starting with something from 1982. Like the conceptualize how long ago that was for an automobile. It's
Oh,
been through three of its full use lifespans, like
well,
three owners using it all the time
my son
by
was
that.
about a year old, and I took his mom and him from San Luis Obispo to Los Angeles, dropped him off at the airport, and I came back. And I remember I got 42 miles a gallon on that trip, but he was about a year old. And right now he's 42. Yeah, that was a while ago, you know. That car's probably long gone. It's probably been melted down, turned into something else by now.
Most of them were.
Second or third outside door handle broke off the front Charger. I stopped buying them. Oh, a front wheel drive Charger. Yeah, it just didn't seem right, did it? You know what the Charger I liked, which was it had the Charger name on it, and it was a twin to the Plymouth Sapporo, which was a Mitsubishi. I liked those.
What
Man.
was it, a 1980s car?
It was, I think the one that I used to drive around was a 79. Look up 79 Plymouth Sapporo. They only made them like a couple of years, so the year doesn't even make any difference. Oh, what are you doing? 1970.
I missed the 9. I
You,
missed it again.
you're still missing it. Oh, 79 Plymouth Sapporo. Sapporo, S-O.
So,
I think it's S-O.
I've never heard of this car.
P-P-O-R-O, something like that. Yeah, there's one. That's
Okay,
it.
let's bring it up.
That was a Challenger. You're right. That wasn't a Charger. It was a Challenger. Sapporo beer. Yeah, Sapporo beer. I had that later after
Oh.
the Sapporo car. Those they drove nice. And that one I think had a 5-speed in it. And because my former mother-in-law had it. What a nice car that was to drive.
That looks like, this one here looks like an AMC.
What?
This one.
It's not an AMC.
It looks like an AMC. To me, it looks like an, oh, I gotta drag this down. Hold on a second. That looks like an AMC. Look at the front.
Well, it's so tiny and small and wedge shaped.
It looks like an AMC
Yeah,
Hornet.
but if you saw it next to an AMC is like big bulbous thing, and this thing is a nice little sleek car. Yeah, this is a lot smaller.
All right, whatever.
That's playing a 1.6 diesel is getting 53 miles a gallon highway, but seriously moderate. Yeah, I'm not into small diesels at all. Jack stands, interlocks. Some of those little Mitsubishis are really cute. You know, another one, Mitsubishi. Look up it was Dodge or Plymouth, same name, Colt, and it was a Mitsubishi, same kind of year, like 79 or 80. 80 Dodge Colt. A friend of mine had one. Put 80 Dodge.
My brother had one. He bought it new.
80 Dodge Colt. Yeah, but there were two different Colts. Yeah, let's see the yellow one on the far left.
This one?
That one. That's the one I like. There was
Yeah,
also
they don't see it yet.
there was also a 4-door that was ugly. Yeah, Plymouth Champ. That's right. They called it a Plymouth Champ. They didn't call it a Colt. They called it a Champ. And see the green one off to the lower, that one. I had a friend that had one of those. and it was we drove pretty good distance to work every day and didn't use a lot of gas. A 440 swapped Colt. I guess that's isn't that also a frame swap?
Yeah,
79 Dodge Colt is what I had.
that at some point that's a cab
And an 80.
swapped
And
something.
you had an 80 Plymouth Champ. See, I like those things. Man, I like those. I like that so much more than the car I had at the time, which was a Honda Civic, and very similar in size. And I like the Colt so much better. I also had when I was in Hawaii, I had a Plymouth. It was a Mitsubishi car. Plymouth Arrow. Plymouth Arrow.
Oh, those are popular for race car
Oh,
because they're so little.
oh, this is even smaller than the
What
Arrow.
year?
Like, let's see, when did I have that thing? Like 77? 77 Plymouth Arrow. I think I was over there in 78, so it's probably a year-old car. Oh yeah, that one, somebody put all this crazy paint on it. I had one that was just red. It was just bright red car. No
popular.
stripes, no funny business.
They're real popular to make into drag cars because there's just nothing to them. They're so little.
It was a 1600 4-speed, got good gas mileage. I like that thing. There was an Arrow for sale here, but it sold quickly. Man, what did you just put up, Mexican Spec? I just got something this morning and I looked at it. I think it was a Fairmont sedan. I think it was a 4-door. I'm not sure. I looked at it kind of because I like Fairmonts, but I don't want a 4-door. And I can't buy anything right now. There was an Arrow for sale. Yeah, if there was a good Arrow, and I'd look. Oh, I know what it was. You put up, Mexican Spec. You put it on YouTube. You put my favorite Matador up there, and I want that Matador, but I just don't have money for that stuff right now. Geez, if I had money, we'd be going down there to get that Matador.
It is so much fun getting new stuff and starting new projects, but
yeah, okay.
You can only do so much of that in life.
Full video of the Matador AMX came out today. Yes, I saw it today, and I was like, oh man, why can't
if you are new to the
buy
stream and you are not familiar with Mexican Spec, who is one of our moderators, Mexican Specs helps people in the United States to import cars, classic cars, especially from Mexico. And once they're a certain age, you can import them into the States. And so he helps get it to the border and facilitate the sales. He's an honest and reliable kind of contact, and he will help you do that. And you can find him on Instagram.
Yeah, look for Mexican Spec on Instagram, and then he's also posting some of it on YouTube. But man, if you look on Instagram, you can look at them all.
We really appreciate him, and he puts out lots of interesting content. And just if you just like looking at pictures of old cars, that's a good. Cause you can't buy them all.
And
sometimes it's just fun to watch pictures.
He sells reproduction taillights and turn signal lenses and
side marker lenses. Nice.
And
they fit like the original.
We bought some from him. They came right up here. They're perfect. Yeah. And so yeah, hi Paul, how you doing? Man, I almost reached over and grabbed the microphone for a drink. That would have been wrong.
That would have been wrong. Welcome to the stream, Paul.
I'm running out of juice. Okay, so now we move.
It's beverage time. And what's the next beverage on our list?
Dr. Pepper Creamy Coconut.
With 0 sugar.
0 sugar. Here, I've never had this. I'm going to try it. No Instagram here. Why don't they have Instagram in Southwest Ohio? You are in Southwest Ohio, right? Or is it just you? Just get Instagram. Just get Instagram and follow him. Don't follow anybody else. It's worth it.
There it is. Dr. Pepper Creamy Coconut Soda in the can with 0 sugar.
It
And let me
says
have a taste of it.
it says
I don't
soda.
really like zero sugar stuff usually,
It
but
says soda, but if you're in the Midwest, it's pop. What do you think? I haven't tasted it yet, and it's not very cold,
tastes like coconut.
does it?
It does taste like a little bit like Dr. Pepper, a little bit like a, but it tastes like zero sugar, and I just can't handle. All I taste is yeah, the aftertaste of the zero sweetener stuff. I'm glad you can
See that?
handle it.
Soda pop. There's soda, there's pop, there's soda pop, and then like if you're in Georgia, everything's Cokes. Doesn't matter what it is. It's a soft drink, it's a Coke. My mother used to say soda pop. My mother was a soda pop person.
Oh
So,
yeah, in Boston, I would think just like
yeah,
as in
what's
Pittsburgh,
Boston?
short-lived. The
Oh,
cars only last 10, 15. If you have a car that's 20 years old, it's an old car. But these things we're talking about from the late 70s, early 80s, they're non-existent. They're the only place you see them as at a car show. People don't drive them around. They're parked under a carport or in someone's garage, and they rarely go out except for a summer cruise. Nobody daily drives cars this old because they just don't. You
half
can't
of
even
Wisconsin
keep them here.
soda, the other half is pop. See, I was in Illinois in Rantoul, Illinois, where I went to school in the Air Force, and it was pop there. You know, it just was. And the same thing in Northeast Ohio. I got up there, and the guy I was working for, his fiance goes, she's going to the store, and she goes, and she was from Detroit, and she goes, "Do you want some pap?" It sounded like PAAP.
Pep.
And I just about laughed. I couldn't believe she was even serious. Do you want me to buy some pap? Like, it just sounded so strange. But then after living there for 15 years, I got used to it. Um, okay. And then in I've never had this, but I've heard about it in Massachusetts. They have a drink called Moxie. I don't know if they still have it. Is there Moxie up there? I don't know what that tastes like. Um,
Decently dry in Oklahoma. In some places where even where it rains and where there's snow, they don't salt because it's
what you
just not
saying?
worth it. Or
You may like Zevia brand stuff. Zevia or Steva? I don't know. I've seen all these other sugar stuff,
stevia,
but
stuff
see
like that.
this is zero sugar, which seems to be a different sweetener than the ones that say diet. Everything was tonic. That's right. I remember friends from Massachusetts calling it tonic when I was a little kid. Moxie is gross. Okay.
It's a main thing, they said.
Oh, it's a main thing. Okay, well,
Kind of like the Jägermeister of
oh,
sodas.
Jägermeister's like,
It looks like a you love it or hate it kind of thing.
you ever have Jägermeister? I'd buy a bottle of Jägermeister once in a while when I was back in the drinking days, you know. But you take a couple of swigs of Jägermeister. I mean, it might just as well be cough medicine. I mean, it tastes like cough medicine. Yeah, this I can't read it. This is like some other sweetener. It's not. It's not. I don't know what the hell it is. It is a soda pop that's sweetened with stevia. Okay,
This is aspartame.
it's aspartame.
It sure is. And it contains phenylalanine, which I don't know what. Only
But
if
now
you're
I'm drinking it.
phenylketonurics. I don't
Oh,
remember what that means. I looked it up
Tab.
once.
Tab was the Diet Coke of the 70s,
Oh, I
60s and
remember
70s.
hearing about
And
Tab.
then they came out with Diet Coke. And so then I started drinking Diet Coke, but then they came back with the Tab again, and Tab was terrible. Fresca was good. I used to drink Fresca a lot. And Squirt. But Squirt, I don't think there was a Diet Squirt. There may have been. But
There probably
Fresca,
is
Fresca,
now.
I drank Fresca a lot.
Fresca's diet, isn't it? That's
Yes,
like a
yes.
flavored sparkling water kind of thing.
Well,
I just can't do the diet flavored stuff.
it's kind of
Anything
a,
that's zero sugar, like I just the
see,
artificial sweeteners don't they
that's
hit wrong for me.
that's all I drink is diet stuff. Oxy's kind of syrupy, really, very much on the licorice, whatever that is, and it's kind. Oh, really? See, now I want to try it. But I may have to go up to Maine for something. If I make that trip,
Oh, that
I'll
sounds
look up.
good. I like
How about Dr.
licorice
Pepper?
Annie's
Yeah,
kind of
that
flavored
Dr. Pepper.
things.
That's what I'm drinking right here.
Dr. Pepper spicy
Yeah.
jalapeno.
What?
Dr. Pepper. There's a pepper, and then there's a
Uh,
maybe just
another
using
pepper.
peppers.
Moxie wasn't sweet enough for me. See, and they got to have a diet version of it. I can't drink a drink full of sugar. Fresca's tasty. Too bad it's made by Coke. Too bad it's made. Oh, probably by Coke. Plymouth Champ twin stick transmission. You could chirp the tire. Oh, I forgot about the twin stick. Yeah,
Twin stick?
yeah. They had like two positions for. I think it was kind of like a rear end ratio, but I'm not sure. But I think it was probably in the transmission. I don't know. Phenol, some alphabet word there. Lack of amino acids necessary to break down aspartame, so it's toxic to them. Squirt used to be a Michigan only drink. I don't know what you're looking at.
There's a twin stick.
Oh yeah, I remember this, but I don't remember what it did. Was it like the final drive ratio changed? Or man, I think my friend that had the green one, I think his had the twin stick.
It's making me do stuff.
Do stuff you don't want to do.
Which had a high-low range selector that maybe it's like a high-low range. It would have been.
2 gear ranges. It didn't get used too much. It didn't get used much. See, Mexican Spec knew a lot about this stuff because he worked in dealerships when he was in the U.S. and it was in that time period, so he really knows this stuff.
Pardon.
I learned to drive
I've
stick.
never seen a car that was built like that.
I learned to
didn't
drive
know.
stick in a twin stick Plymouth Champ. People always look weird at me when I tell them I learned stick in an 8-speed. You laugh. I learned to drive. My first car I drove was a 57 Ford station wagon, a country sedan with a 3-speed on the tree. And it was a nice car to drive. It had overdrive, but I never went fast enough to engage the overdrive. P and E lever was connected to a type of transfer case. Okay, so it's power and E. Power and economy.
Yeah, it had a high and low range.
Yeah,
like an off-road vehicle, but
I forgot
two-wheel drive.
Forgot all about that. He says he left his in power. Yeah, I forgot all about those things.
Yeah, but if you were on a long trip on the highway and you threw it into the economy range, you could get someplace cheap.
Yeah, I remember this. That friend of mine had that bright green one. His was had the twin stick. I'm driving an 80 Celica. I like the 5-speed.
I had an 83 Celica, I think, and it had a 5-speed, and I liked the 5-speed. That was nice.
Man, and I worked on so many Toyotas and Datsuns. They weren't Nissans, and they were Datsuns back in the 70s. I really liked the Datsuns better. And later, the Toyotas got to be easier to work on.
Oh, I believe
back
that.
in the 60s and the early 70s, I used to get upset with Toyota. But I worked on them. I mean, compared to the cars today, they were easy. Really easy to work on. I'd love to turn the clock back to the late 70s and just be working on the cars I was working on then, because they were almost new and they were simple. Man, you could be a mechanic and enjoy it. I'd hate to be a mechanic like in a dealership now. Oh man. My friends and I changed so many Corolla and Celica clutches. Yeah, I was like that with engines on the rotary engine Mazdas, RX2s and RX3s. I was 16 years old. I wasn't on the highway. Tried to find a Dodge Colt. That time now they're extinct. Yeah, I had an eBay search set for years and none ever came up. Yeah, there's cars like that I look for that are just. I think they're gonna be there.
That's
I see.
Facebook.
That's something of years. Yeah, Pinto. Pinto wagons, and especially the little vans. I wait for the day I could. I don't know which I'd want more, that Matador or a Plymouth or a Pinto wagon, like a Pinto wagon from, I don't know, mid Pinto wagons, like 75, 76, somewhere in there, 77. I don't really like the last 2 years, the 79s and 80s, that big square front end. But man, and then I could do the, I know I could make it into a van, but I used to buy the panels because they were around junkyards, so I'd buy the panels and put them on the, take the windows out and make it into a panel truck. Okay, let's see here.
What? Wait. What vehicle does Doctor Go have that has the 224 gears?
That's sort of high.
Oh, that is insanely high.
I remember when they.
Who said?
I remember when they started doing that really high gears.
Was that like the New Yorkers or something like that with the 318?
I think all the Chryslers in the like the
Rear
late
wheel
70s
drive.
and early 80s. Yeah, I think they were all
they
got
went
real high like that.
for highway mileage.
I remember my mom sold the Champ and have gotten $200 for. Oh God, doesn't that just suck? A Pinto wagon would probably be fun around here. You know, a Pinto wagon, you kind of sit down low next to the transmission tunnel, and it's kind of like a little low sports car feeling thing. But they were economy cars. But you can make the front end look better, and you put the band like things on the back. It's nice big meats on the back that stick right out the edges of the fenders. And I had them with the V6s in them, you know. And I always wanted to put like a 3.8, you know, GM engine in them. Or there's so many engines now that could go in that Pinto. And the small block Ford's not a good one because they're just too long. Water pump area is too big, but the LS Chevy would be good. They're aluminum and light. I mean, it'd be easy to make a Pinto cruising wagon is what it was called. Yeah, and there were a few of them that didn't have portholes. They just didn't have the portholes, and I was never able to find some of those. But if I did a set myself, I wouldn't put the portholes in them. I just do it in fiberglass. Still over 20 miles a gallon, 275 on the back, 245 on the front. Oh yeah, those things. Yeah, I had an all black one, and it had wheels about like that, and they're slotted mags. I didn't like all the crazy stripes Ford put on them, but yeah, that's all right.
It was the 70s. What can you say?
Ford did that like one year. They put all these goofy stripes on it. No, the car sounded like that. The starter started. Huh.
Welcome to Stream Ponymaniac.
Where is he? Where is
Glad
he?
to see
Oh,
you.
there he is. Hello. I'm looking all over the place and not paying attention to the chat so much. I'm looking at that Pinto that I like. And mine didn't have side pipes on it. It was black, but it had big tires like that in the back. And oh man, it was all black. Oh, and the mags, the wheels, the slotted wheels were anodized gold. So I thought that looked really good. I think it was the Sears catalog. You buy portals for. Oh, you get them in anything. You get them in Sears. You get them in J.C. Whitney. You get every store had portals for vans, and some of them were stars, and some of them were round, and some of them were like half moons, and in little slots. You could buy like series of 3 slots. You know, I used to get 26 mile at 215 stock tires. You know, you say 215, that reminds me of that aluminum Buick. That'd be a great engine for a Pinto. They were small and they were a pretty nice engine. Dual pan at least. Let's see this. I always thought if I could find one of those limiting the bumpers. Got to remember Western Auto sold those one. Oh, Western Auto, man, that's a store that we had when we were kids. My first bicycle came from a Western Auto. Yeah, see, the 79 had a different nose piece on it, very square. The only thing I liked on the 80 Pinto, they finally went to the high beams up on the stock instead of the stupid button on the floor. That's the one thing I like about the 80, but I guess you could swap a column, you know. But the you just get used to the old fashioned button on the floor for the high beams. Let's see where Landon Custom Classics. Man, you just put up something I was gonna watch. I can't remember
Welcome,
what it was.
Landon.
What was it he put up? I was gonna watch. I didn't watch it yet.
Well, get on the stick. It's important to watch things right away.
Well, I was out on the stick. I was out on the tractor.
It's tough to watch everything. It comes quick, you know.
Oh, there's so much content out there I want to see. What were you just doing?
We enjoy keeping up with people and knowing about the projects.
Landon, what were you just putting up that sounded so interesting?
All these lights are making it warm in here.
Are you getting too warm? I'm not too warm.
I'm starting to feel warm. That's why I got my pants rolled up.
That's why you rolled your pants.
Maybe I should change into shorts. I'm gonna go change into shorts. These pants are like.
You're gonna take your pants off.
I'm taking my pants off, people. It's that time in the show. Be back.
I never minded the floor switch. You know, I liked the floor switch back then. Hey, Slant Daily Garage, what's up, suckers? Oh, you're building a Bradley GT. Oh, the second one. Yeah, I love kit cars, especially I didn't like Volkswagen kit cars back then, except for the Myers Manx, but I like them now. I'd even like one of the little sports cars. Pants are optional. Well, I think she's gonna go change to shorts instead of just taking her pants off. So yeah, Shane, what's going on? Are you thinking about going to that land speed record thing? That's that was this last weekend, but there's two more this year. So I'm really hoping you go, and and it's I think it's not much. Oh, maybe you didn't hear what I said yet. But that land speed record thing is I think it's half mile, 1 mile, and then 2 kilometers, which is what, like a mile and a quarter. So I still want to go up there, and if nothing else, just watch. I don't have anything to run, but they have all the rules online and everything. I'm going back to the track this Friday. Okay, like a normal track. Junk Car Willie started covering the land speed record stuff, and it's an old military, it's an old Air Force base, huge long concrete runway, and they time you through. I think it's half, might be 3/4 of a mile. I don't remember that. Half, 1 mile, and 2 kilometers, and you can really get rolling in that much distance. There are motorcycles that are going over 200 miles an hour. But then there were cars that were just more regular street cars that weren't going over 120 or 130 or so. So,
that
when
seems
68
like
Dart is done, I will definitely race that.
Yeah, that would be a fun time, taking the 68 out and land speed record.
If you're gonna be there at what's the name of that place? In northeast Arkansas. I can't think of the name of it. You go there. And I know you're going to be there. I'll find a way to get there. I'll be there. Because, I want to.
Pit crew?
Well, I'll help him if he wants. If he wants some old man with fumbled fingers, I'll help him. Or if he wants somebody to video, Kim's like really good at that.
We're getting better, and I got sound today. I didn't tell anybody about the sound yet.
She's got so much video equipment and mixers and stuff. I don't even know how it all is. Put up an exterior shot of the 81 Plymouth Champ, please. Okay, we're tired of looking at the Pinto. So Pinto's doesn't have a lot of frontal area. The Plymouth Champ. You're probably gonna have to search that. Oh, we got to this silly looking thing. He goes, hell yeah. Is that hell yeah till I'll be there to help you race or help you with whatever? Changing spark plugs or getting in your way or video, whatever. What happened to the YouTuber that got... Okay,
didn't really
the YouTuber that got naked. That was a troll. He didn't get naked. He didn't do anything like that. He didn't even have a live. He is really upset with... what's his name, Brian Cabral. Yes, he was upset, but no, the guy that came in here, that guy, that channel was started that same day, and he went out and trolled everybody with that nonsense. So I don't remember his name, but I'll recognize if he comes up here, and he'll be gone. So
Was that Rich 220?
yeah, so
Yeah.
he will.
Yeah,
He
he
is
didn't do anything of this sort. It's not true. It was a malicious rumor against him, so
yeah. It's one of it's somebody that's a Brian Cabral supporter, is what I assume.
so
Um,
Professor P of Slantley Garage is eventually going to take his 68 Dart to land speed record, and we are officially allowed to be
well,
pit crew.
I'll go there. I want to be there for that. I want to be there to see
That sounds
it
great,
anyway.
yeah.
And then, so Shane, you're gonna do the you probably don't know yet. You know, you can sign up to do the half mile, the 1 mile, or the 2 kilometer. And if you do the 2 kilometer, they time you through all of it. So, man,
Dr.
after
Go knows about my sound thing.
okay, how do you do good sound? Is there wireless mic that can plug into the phone with a small belt pack? Oh, yeah, I don't
All
know
right, let
anything
me tell
about
the
this.
story. I'll tell
And
it
then
quick.
Bradley GT2, they only made 500. I remember those things so well, and I was in Southern California then. There were some of them around, and I helped work on one time. It was one
Oh,
stuck out in the road, and I helped these girls get going again. Anyway,
Landon Custom Classics earlier in the chat said that he bought a parts dune buggy and he's planning to put a Ford 2.3 turbo in it, and that sounds amazing. That sounds really cool. So
okay,
I can't wait to see that.
okay. So you got the Colt up there, which is Plymouth Champ. Okay, when the '85 Colt came out, late '84, I loved that car. The interior controls were so cool. Then a turbo model came out, made it better. The Champs did the song Tequila. The Champs.
Tequila, da 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 da
Okay,
da.
so I might bring the Slant 6 and see what it will do in the longest one. That's 2 kilometers, which I think is a mile and a quarter. Oh man, yeah, that'd be fun. Okay, I was interrupting you talking about sound and microphones and all that kind of
Okay,
stuff.
so we bought a set of cheap, like $25 wireless microphones. You know, they just clip on your thing and then they just plug into your phone. Well, it didn't really work because when you plugged it in, the Android phone that I have at least did not recognize what it was, and the sound was just blowing out. It was so loud that it was like breaking up in the video. So I got a little, I tried 3 different mixers and I had to get adapters because it's the 3 prong with the headphones and the microphones that goes into the mixer. That's the wrong thing to go into the mixer, so I'd have a special splitter to plug into the mixer. And then from the mixer, it has a volume in and a volume out, so you can adjust the 2 knobs and then go from there into the phone. And you need a splitter to go into the phone as a microphone because it has a microphone headset thing. So I use that. Anyway, I got it where I can adjust the levels and then I can just talk naturally with the little lapel thing and walk 50 feet away and continue to talk, walk into the garage. Because a lot of times I'm walking away from the camera. It can be really hard to have like a continuous thought and just always just talking right to the camera. You can't get any work done. So to be able to like move around freely, like set the camera back, move around freely, talk naturally, I'm really looking forward to it. It was like it's been years that sound has been plaguing us with issues, and I finally today got a successful test. So I'm really hoping that this is good.
Oh, I have a headset. I couldn't live
Headset.
without my headset. Danny Boyd says I never had a headset. Um, the and I also see Paula Patron. Yeah, Patron is good. You know, and you got to remember, I worked in Yuma with a whole bunch of Mexicans and a whole bunch of Puerto Ricans. They all drank Patron, and that's how I got introduced to that. Let's see, what I was thinking. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. 2 cans in a string. I did that when I was really young.
The problem is you have to keep the string taut, so you know
It's just
the
like
distance has got to stay the same. It's troublesome,
it's just like towing a car with a rope. You got to keep it tight.
but not too tight. It's just a
Just search with Auto Tempest and not 179 384 Dodge Colt for sale. Craigslist. Yeah, there's yeah, I'm oh, he says did you get it at eBay or Amazon or where'd you get it?
I got the wireless mic thing off of Amazon. I'll look it up. I'll look it up and show you exactly the thing that I got. And I'm coming out with a video pretty soon with it.
Well, and there's all he says Patronus Smooth is an Oldsmobile V8. They're all different Patron of different qualities and prices, and man, you got to get the right one for those guys. You know, we were down there, we were making good money, so they bought nothing but the best, you know. And they oh man, there was a guy that it was an unmanned airplane. I don't know, I guess I can talk about this stuff a little bit.
Okay.
There was a problem uh, and we ended up with an airplane in the air with no power. And this guy, he had been a bush pilot in the past, manned airplanes, and he brought that thing in and touched it down. And I think if anybody else been flying that airplane, they would have lost it. And he did a smooth landing on the runway and stopped on the center line. I said, and he was a guy like Patron. I said, I owe him a bottle of Patron for that because I'm the one that would have to clean the mess up and go make a new airplane. So yeah. Oh, headache in a bottle. What is that? Cusano Rojo. Headache in a bottle. Oh, I don't like things that give me headaches. All booze gives me a headache now, and it's because of the diabetes. Um, I want to bring up something else, Kim.
Okay.
You found this
I
thing?
did find this item, so
Okay,
let me
okay, do
show it
that
off.
first. Do that first, and then we'll go on to the next thing I want to bring up, which has to do with our next live.
Has to do with our next live. Okay.
So okay, you can shrink us down maybe.
Oh yeah, I can shrink us down.
Okay, and then you can scoochy that over somewhere. Yeah, there's the thing.
Obviously not sponsored. Like I'm using it, and it see the problem that I'm having is that see this plug is two mics. It has nothing to do with a headset. So it's designed to work with certain kinds of cameras that it can plug into, right? And it has a USB-C plug, and the USB-C. I like the clear portion of his head.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
I'm
cool.
going like this. I'm looking through it while he's saying that.
The USB-C plug does work in my Android phone, but there's no volume control for microphones in the system. So instead, I used this plug up here, and then I adapted it with a three-prong kind of adapter. I'll show you the three-prong adapter that I bought this three-prong adapter. It goes from the three-prong adapter to a two-prong microphone and a two-prong headset adapter. And then I use the microphone adapter into my volume control box. And then I go from there, and then I use another adapter to go into the phone. And that gets it there. But a Rode microphone setup, like the high quality microphone setups are like $150. So I got away with this for like about 30, and it's nice. It's two microphones. They sound really clear. So I don't know. That was a lot of farting around, but I made it work. Okay, on to the next. Sorry.
On to the next. I've got somebody texting me, and I just like I'll deal
Is
with it
Buff
later.
one of those lizard people I hear about on YouTube? Yes.
So
Yes, he is.
okay, I somebody that died, and I know about it, and I'll
He
respond
isn't
later.
wearing a mask. lizards naturally grow beards, and I just tweak the color so instead of green, he looks really red. Fooled you all.
So this, the green screen, I forget. I always wear this hat for this live, and it's got some green in it because my other hat that I wear a lot has a lot of green in it, and then it looks like my head's chopped off. So this one, I forget, it's got some green in it. I can see through it. Okay, so our next live. What I'm thinking about is when we do the other side of the Valiant suspension,
Yeah.
I'll just go live up there in the shop, and we'll so it won't be we'll have our next one on Tuesday night, but maybe before then we'll just go live in the shop one night or one afternoon or whatever. So it's an impromptu live. So
Yeah, well, now that we
we
have
might do that.
now that we're under roof with the shed, we can put the rototiller and some other things
Oh,
out there and make some space.
get the shop cleared up a little bit because the
Yeah.
shop we're always working around all this stuff.
Yeah, and there's an entire disassembled Studebaker in there.
Well, the
All the parts.
Studebaker, I was working out in Yuma, Arizona, and I started pulling the Studebaker down because that was my next project, and I got the front fenders and the hood and the whole front end off of it, and I got the front doors off of it and the windows out of it, or at least the windshield and the backlight out of it and the deck lid off. And then what happens? We lose the contract. So then I wish I wouldn't have taken it apart before I moved it, but at least I bagged everything, all the fasteners in Ziploc bags, and most of those Ziploc bags only have like 2 bolts in it or 4 bolts in it, and they're all written on it where they go and everything. It's not like a huge bag of bolts, so going back together won't be too hard. All that stuff is in a tote, so I know where everything is. So at some point that Studebaker's going to go together. She's really on me just to put it together, just so it's not apart. But I don't want to do that. If I put it together, I want to be finishing it. The problem is we got too many interesting projects. So uh, the Valiant really we've got half a rebuild front end right now. We've got all the pieces and parts. We really need to do the other side. What's going on here? What I'm not paying attention.
They're talking about scary movies because they were
Oh.
saying that you were a lizard person.
Oh.
So they were talking about V. That was a classic television show about lizard people that came to landed on Earth, and then they were talking about Robert Englund, and he was the Freddy Krueger guy, I believe. And they're talking about special effects and Nightmare on Elm Street, the movie.
TV,
that's Freddy Krueger movies.
TV just got worse and worse and worse, and pretty soon I was wondering why I was paying almost $200 a month for cable and we weren't watching it, so I got rid of it. I still have a TV. It's hooked to an antenna. Occasionally I turn it on like a couple times a year to make sure it works. Watch it for 5 minutes, turn it off. First commercial comes up, I turn it off. So that's what I think of TV. I mean, YouTube there's so much content, between that and the things that are on, what's the thing we watch? Jeremy Clarkson on.
Oh yeah, on
Amazon.
Amazon. Jeremy Clarkson had a show about farming. We enjoyed the first season of that. We got to sit down and watch.
We got to watch the second.
We're so
season.
busy. We'll watch it when the weather sucks.
I'll do this stuff when I retire. I'm just gonna take all my clocks outside and shoot them with a rifle because I don't want to have to pay attention to time. But you know what?
Oh.
Once I retired, I still had to pay attention to time. Things still have to be done on time. People expect me to be places at a certain time. And I've never been so busy. Got so many projects. It's like, okay. I just don't have to be to work every morning, but so I'm on my own schedule, and there's a lot to do. A lot of cars to do, all kinds of stuff. I'm Gen X. I watched it. Heck, I must have been 10 or 12. I want to stand up. Kinnison dice, man. Those were the days. Yeah, see, when you're 10 to 12 years old, those are interesting times. The year that I was 11 and 12, I was in Brookings, South Dakota. Just lived there for a year and a half or something. That was one of the best times of my life because it was a small town. And I had a friend next door, and we walked around all the car dealerships, and we knew everything about every new car, 66 cars. The brand new Charger came out. I thought that was the coolest thing. Clarkson's Farm was actually fun. Okay, so you watched that. That was a great thing, and we watched the first season. I think there's a second season of it. Uh, Green Acres. That's Uncle Tony's favorite show. The Comedy Store. I like that red LS. Yeah, I like that red LS. Oh, I'd love to have that, man.
Oh, I thought of something.
But then I always want another car. Doesn't matter what I get, I always gonna want something else. What's
Yeah,
that?
can't keep them up. Is this year when it gets hot and sweaty and icky out, we have an air conditioner because I got an
She
air
bought an air
conditioner.
conditioner last year and put it in the shop. We have a shop with air conditioning, and it doesn't cool it off that much, but man, it sucks the humidity right out of
Oh
there.
yeah, it makes a big
Oh
difference.
man, is it nice in
That's
there?
why I want to get some of this excess, like cumbersome, out of the space that we're using to work so that we can bring vehicles in, work around them, film around them. And it has been a multi year process now getting heat and air conditioning and fixing the doors and uh, and now we've got the shed and the garage was just packed because he was like on the road a lot. His stuff just got when he moved here, he just squished everything
Oh,
in there and just ran away. But
Buff, would you buy car parts from Mr. Haney? Who's Mr. Haney? What's that?
I'm
Oh,
not sure who that is.
I know a guy named Mr. Haney, but I'm sure that's not who he's talking about.
Caddyshack. They're talking about
Oh, Caddyshack.
Mexican and an Iceman.
Caddyshack was I watched that a long time ago. But the AC helps productivity and keeps your energy level. Oh, you can't believe she put that air conditioner. She went to some scratch and dent place or something and bought like stuff that they couldn't sell to normal people. You know, so she got a real deal on this window air conditioner. It's a pretty big one, and put it in. Man, does it work well? And
Yeah,
it was a scratch and dent, but
it,
who
it's
cares?
it's
It's in a
perfect for what
shop.
we need.
Oh, there's the guy on Green Acres. Oh,
Oh, he's selling junk.
Green Acres. See, I didn't watch Green Acres that much, but Tony, UTG. He really likes that show.
The thing it helps about productivity, the air conditioning, right, is if you have to work in the heat outside the garage for a little while, instead of coming back to the house, locking up, coming back to the house and relax, you can like just go in the garage for a couple minutes and cool off and then go back to work.
You know what else?
You know, it's like separation of like the dirty space from the clean
And when you
space.
got AC in the shop and it doesn't cool it off more than, I don't know, 5 degrees or something, but it sucks all the humidity out, there's no bugs.
There's
The
no
mosquitoes
there's
disappear.
so bad here. You have to you can't keep the door open and the lights on in the shop or else they're just buzzing everywhere and stuff. So you have to keep the lights off when you're not in there
So
and with the door shut.
keeps mosquito population
Mosquito,
way down.
keep that out of there. And then the other thing is trying to work on stuff like with like sweat like dripping in your eyes and stuff like that. It's no good.
Yeah,
Being
sweat goes away. I sweat to death putting a motor and a tranny in my wife's car during the heat, humidity wave. Yeah, I don't know where you are, Doctor Go.
my shirt was soaked every day.
You know what? And
That's rough.
this is what I liked about Arizona. It'd be 120 degrees. It normally out there at the test site is between 115 and 100 and a quarter. Probably mostly around 120 degrees. But the humidity was usually about 10%. And shirts aren't stuck to you, nothing like that. I take a water bottle. You got to drink all day long. Keep a hat on. We had shade structures, so when we weren't actually on the runway or something, we could be under the shade structure. And I'd take the water bottle. I'd be drinking, then I'd take my hat off and pour water in the hat and let it soak in and put it on my head. In about 5, 6, 7 minutes, the hat would be dry again. I'd do it again. That evaporation out of there would keep my head cool. But the real good thing about it, it was easy to work in the heat because nothing's stuck to you. And you're sweating, but it's evaporating off as fast as you're sweating, so you don't feel it. You just it's actually much more pleasant than being out east of the Mississippi, where when it gets to be like 80 degrees, your clothes are all stuck to you. It's pretty miserable.
Those
I hate sweating the eyes. See, I didn't even know about that till I moved east of the Mississippi, and then it was like, oh, this is miserable. And Arizona, it'll be 40 degrees warmer than out here, and there is no sweat in your eyes. It's just, yeah, it's kind of hot. It's like somebody blowing a hair dryer on you. It's like, all right. You got to make sure you stay hydrated.
and I'm gonna be on the lookout for one of those screen curtains. And I know last summer I was working on that. Remember, I was working on the skid loader, and it was stuck out here in the front yard. I couldn't get it to run, and I had the motor out of it. I was trying to work on it, and the mosquitoes are just tearing into me. I bought like a pop tent that was just all screens, and I just like cut the bottom out of it and put it over the skid loader so I could work for a little while. And I got in there and I just sprayed insect repellent all in there, and that got me through. But I ain't doing that no more. We're done with dead in the water vehicles. Like, most of what we have now moves under its own power and stops under its own power and even steers.
Oh, cars that don't steer because there's no steering linkage, that's not fun.
No, I that green truck.
Yeah, we couldn't.
Every
You
time you
couldn't
got in
steer
it, the steering's so heavy because the power steering is dead, so it's
Oh, and then
so heavy.
but then you didn't have a steering gear in it, and all the linkage is undone, and we got to move it.
Yeah.
And
So
then the wheels are going whichever way they want to go. Mexican spec says something here. Didn't know. Where I am, it's more like Florida than Vegas. Really? It's humid where you are. I thought you were like on the edge of the Sonora Desert where it was dry. Oh no, I don't want to go where it's hot and sticky.
yeah,
We'll have to go. We'll have to go a different time of the year. Sweating eyes is like working blind. Oh man.
Well, the other thing is when you're doing dirty work and you're sweating, and then you're like trying to rub your eye with over here so you don't rub dirt in them.
Man, you're in northern Wisconsin. Yeah, I remember being. See, I used to go to Oshkosh every year for the air show, and it's in the middle of summer, and it could be really hot and sticky there, and I did not like that. I'm buff, but also 30 minutes from the ocean. Yeah, but the ocean is. When I was in California, you get near the ocean, it's not. I don't like the smell. I don't like the stickiness. I don't like the salt air. Man, I don't know.
Well, we've done a lot of stuff.
But you're way south. It's got to be different. I was 200 miles north of Los Angeles, and you've probably been through San Luis Obispo, Morro Bay, up Highway 1. You probably know what that's like.
I mean, sometimes it seems like we're not putting out a lot of content very quickly, but behind the scenes, we're doing a lot of stuff so that in the future we can be more prepared to do more revivals and make more videos easier on us, because like it's a lot of work. And like if we work for a couple hours and we're just like struggling uphill the whole time, it gets harder and harder to even want to go out to the garage or out to the shop or out in the yard. So we're getting it. Normal decent summer unless you were working on a project.
Like Louisiana, yeah. Oh, you're in northern Wisconsin.
I like having projects.
How far north? The furthest north I've been in Wisconsin is almost Green Bay. What the heck was up there? Went up to some airport there. We had to show off an airplane, but I'd never been to Green Bay. But it was really close. I thought, man, I'm almost at Green Bay, and I just can't say I've ever been there. And I wanted to say that.
He'll be able to sit on a bus for 12 hours. I'll give him one of those little charging packs so he can.
Oh, sit on a bus for 12 hours?
Sit on his phone. He won't even notice the time.
The buses are air conditioned. They go along like this, and pretty soon I'm asleep. Like, I'm fine in a bus. If I can ride on Greyhound, I can ride on a good bus. Greyhound. I've been all over on Greyhound. And, yeah, Carl used to call it the dirty dog. He'd never go anywhere on Greyhound, and I used to just do it. Because it was cheap, and it got me there.
Iceman and Electric Ratchet is on my wish list. because
Oh,
we a lot of times we use that impact driver, and that helps a lot.
I have an air powered ratchet that I got that's a piece of crap. It's you squeeze
Oh
the
yeah,
trigger, it
those
doesn't go. You gotta get it going, and then it goes. But it's just it's I gotta take it apart, and maybe it's got some sharp edges in there or something. I don't really like running a compressor.
Oh yeah, when you're recording, running the compressor is the worst. It always kicks on when you're trying to talk.
So I got a nice new air powered ratchet that I don't like. Now, back in the 70s, I had a snap on air ratchet, which didn't have a lot of torque. But man, like doing water pumps and radiators and stuff, I could reach down there between the radiator and the fan and the water pump. That air ratchet was just so nice. But I had a huge compressor, and so that wasn't a problem. Um, yeah, I do want an electric ratchet. In fact, when I bought the air ratchet, I was in California and I was waiting for somebody, and I saw a Harbor Freight, and I walked in there and they had those ratchets on sale. And me being a dumbass and not reading everything, I thought it was electric ratchet, and I bought it. When I got home and found it was an air ratchet, I was pretty upset with myself for being stupid. So now I have this air ratchet that I don't like. So, yeah, Appleton. That's where I was. That's where I was. Was it? Uh, you're north central Wisconsin. Okay, Appleton is further east, I guess. Appleton is where I was. We went up there one night, and summertime. It was almost 10 o'clock at night, and it was still light enough that we went out and did a demo flight with the airplanes, and then we left. I guess somebody had an airplane up there because it was one of our airplanes, and we did a demo flight in that airplane, and we all got in a big old one-ton Ford Dually and went and ate and went back to Oshkosh. I'm seeing a Power Ratchet 2 now that yeah, the electric ratchets are really nice.
The
And if you got room, we use those electric impact, the 3H drive,
Yeah, the
to the
battery
tornado
powered
sirens going off.
impact. What's the brand name that we use?
Um,
What are all of our batteries?
all our batteries are Ryobi.
No, they're not.
They sure are.
18-volt Ryobi?
They're all Ryobi.
That Ryobi was blue. We're green.
No, the blue is the ones that Naughty left here that are
Harbor Freight.
no, they're the
Lowe's brand.
Lowe's brand, whatever that is.
Anyways, they work good. It's an 18-volt one. And the other thing that they're really good for is putting in wood screws. With a torque spit, wood screws.
Look at this.
Those impact drivers, they blow the old Phillips screwdrivers away. They blow them away. Never ever build a deck with a regular screw gun. Use an impact driver with a torque spit. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You can work so much faster.
Dan, you're like somewhere near Dayton or between Dayton and Cincinnati. Look at this. Look at the radar where he is.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, and it's like a tornado sirens going off. Yeah, this is where he is. I don't know if anybody could see that. You see the
you could see. It's not
red
good.
coming across there. That's where Dan is.
Make sure you're someplace safe.
My impact wrench is corded. Your impact wrench is corded.
Oh yeah, they sell those.
Does it keep spinning, or does it stop as soon as you release the trigger? I had an electric impact wrench, and that thing was big. I got rid of it years ago, but it keeps spinning, and I didn't like that. I like the ones when you release them, they just stop instantly. I love my Power Ratchet. Just got a 1/2-inch stubby impact wrench. Impact also. I have the monster. Landon's the one I never seen anybody pull a transmission like that. He just undid everything and then grabbed onto it, yanked it out, and it fell out.
Perfect. Done.
And it hit the exhaust system, so it didn't get all the way to the ground.
Whoops.
Gotta go, Buff and Kim. The fur babies.
Thank you so much, Mexican Spec. We appreciate you being here every week.
Yeah, and I'll check the tracking again, because I haven't paid attention to it for like 2 days.
Iceman, I have no idea why they're still selling Phillips. They're nice, but yeah, the torques are much more. They're gooder.
What I heard about Phillips, Cadillac was the first company to use them, and they were using them because they'd cam out when the torque was right. Now I don't know how true that is, but that's the story I keep hearing, is that the Phillips heads, they get the torque right and then the screwdriver would cam out. Of course, that boogers them up, but that's what they were built for. So I don't know. Where you at? You're in Wyoming or Montana or something? You're way up there in the north, man. You got to come south. Uh, this one's got a break in it, I believe, just the Harbor Freight basic thing. I haven't used an electric impact.
Well, luckily we have a
I've
nice
used
set of battery tools, so we got the stuff we need.
we use electric impacts that are battery tools, and they stop. They don't just sit there spinning. That's true, Buff, but that was 120 years ago. I'm east of Cincinnati. No sirens here yet. Oh, Lester said he's east of Cincinnati. Man, I used to be around that whole area up there. Well, when I was working in Northeast Ohio, to come down here to the house, I'd go right through all that, down whatever interstate that is that goes right down through Cincinnati. Um, early, well, that's true, Buff, but that was 120 years ago. You're talking about where screws would cam out. Yeah, that was in the 30s, in the 1930s, so it wasn't quite 120 years ago, about 90 years ago. Early Torx stuff didn't seem ready for prime time. Yeah, I broke off a lot of Torx bits in the screw. Well, then you got this thing that's broken flush in the screw, and I could usually get them out, but that was annoying.
They're definitely improved
Yep.
over some years ago. As like the screws are strong, the bits don't break very easily. I mean, you really have to hit something hard, and then with the impact driver, they just zip right in. I mean, it's a great system to be able to do now.
My favorite ones are external 12 points. They look like a Torx, but they're on the outside, and they have a little bit of a flange like a hat, so they got their own washer, but I don't know what those are called.
Yeah. And I can't use them for a lot of things like decks and stuff.
Use a Torx bit for your Allen fasteners. Works great, and it doesn't round off. I have used torque bits for Allen fasteners, and I got my butt chewed out for doing that out in the test site because I don't know, I wasn't supposed to do that. But I did do that, and they are slightly loose, but they don't round off. But there were people that out there that really frowned on that because it wasn't proper. So the same engineer that bought us a 22-ounce claw hammer with big old waffle face on it for working on little tinies. It's like, what's this for? Oh.
In metal stuff, like this last comment, remember to get a bit in a certain big size. Big Torx things, they're usually like they have the angled faces as they go in. I like to use some anti-seize kind of spray and then smack it with a hammer a little bit to break them loose before I even try and twist them, and I get much better luck with it that way. It seems to jar them loose to give them a start. Twist like a barber pole.
I have twisted them. Yeah. I have twisted them. I have ones in the toolbox that are twisted ones. Not an aircraft, but home use for sure. Well, here's what we had. We had an engine that had a lot of hex, what do you call them? Allens on it. And I used to use the Torx bits on them, and they weren't torqued real hard. I mean, it's not like I'm breaking something loose.
Right, that stuff gets regular service. But it doesn't get all rusty.
They didn't like me using them, so I had to use the right thing. The thing about the torque is they go in and out real nice, and I don't know. I still do it here, but I was told not to do it there. Okay, fine, I won't do it there. It didn't hurt anything.
And better tools. Obviously, if you use there's cheap tools out there. There's always cheap tools out there. So if you find that a certain brand is garbage, then try and find something better.
Man, I saw something that I want. What's his name? South Main Auto.
Yeah, I like him.
He had a new smoke machine. and
Oh,
it was from Harbor Freight. And he goes, they gave it to him, and he really likes it. And he goes, yeah, I'm going to use it, and I really like this thing. And he demonstrated using it, and he put it in, and it was doing, late model car with an evap system problem. And he went back in the back of the car. He had it plugged in up front. He went to the back, and you could see smoke coming out, cracked line up there. But you know how useful that'd be for trying to find a vacuum leak on an engine or anything. And it's what's the higher quality Harbor Freight stuff?
oh, the Icon line.
Icon. It was an Icon. It was an
Oh,
Icon smoke machine, and it was a box about this big. It's like, man, I want one of those because uh, lube, not line. What
I
was
knew what
this?
you meant, Doctor Go, because I told him to lubricate and then smack the.
Oh, yeah, lube and snack. Well, he,
Yeah,
he didn't even get the smack right. He got a
autocorrect is
snack.
just
I'm
is
thinking like,
evil.
yeah, that sounds like something I'd like to do. Yeah, lube it up and have a snack, and then go lose it up. Give it some time. Yeah, I had a real bad one with autocorrect at work. I can't tell you about it. It was so bad. Oh man. Oh, and it was really embarrassing. And it was just a
Yeah.
stupid autocorrect. I was like, why did you do that, phone? Uh, they're just cheap set with all the sizes. So I wasn't necessarily inspecting Mac quality. Do you have a lot of Mac tools? I bought some Mac tools, but not a lot. Back in the day, 70s and 80s, I bought a lot of Snap-on tools, but I can't afford that anymore. I still buy it. I occasionally buy Snap-on, but very occasionally. See the guy on YouTube showed the trick using cigarette in replacement of smoke machine. It was pretty. Yeah, but I don't smoke. I'm not gonna put smoke in my lungs to check
Did
for.
he just puff on the smoke, or did
Yeah,
he stick the cigarette in something?
yeah. I saw the guy doing that, and it's like, no, I'm not doing that. Besides that, that smoke has stuff in it, sticky stuff. It's gonna get all in the system.
No, not just during a test. What do you think the smoke machine's
The
made
smoke
of?
machine uses baby oil, I think.
Right, it uses mineral oil.
Yeah. So
Well, that'll gum stuff up eventually too, but you're
so
not
I
going to
I
pump a lot
do
of it in there.
I do want a smoke machine because, like, remember
All
we were
right.
chasing a vacuum leak, and
No, but we got a lot of old cars with a lot of old
yeah,
things.
yep. Really don't. Just most of the good stuff is old Craftsman. I don't really like the handles on the Craftsman, but I don't have any problems with Craftsman. I got plenty of it. The various other bits and pieces from all over. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff from all over.
My
And
set is so eclectic. There's no two sockets look alike.
and when I found myself in Maryland in an apartment, and about what, a block and a half away, we went there was the AutoZone, and so I was going to AutoZone and buying tools, more duplicates of stuff I already had that I knew I had here, but I was there trying to work on something. So I bought a lot of tools at AutoZone. I can't think of the name of that brand.
Ampro. That's what AM Pro was what AutoZone had for a while, I think. Or
It's
maybe that was one of
it's
the other ones.
something else. But anyway, I've got like a ratchet. You know what happened? I'd run down. I don't even have a ratchet. I go down there and buy a set of sockets and a ratchet and a couple of wrenches, and so now that stuff's in my toolbox. And it's, like I always say, I have so many duplicates. Toolbox just crammed full now because I bought tools in Ohio, and I bought tools in Maryland, and I bought tools in Arizona. And every time I was somewhere, I go, I own this tool, but it's somewhere else. A lot of AutoZone bits just bought to get the job done. Yeah, that's my that's my uh, experience with AutoZone stuff. I never had problems with. I buy socket sets at Menards. There's no Menards around here because you can get single sockets because I lose my sockets. My favorite single sockets to buy are the what's the blue stuff from Lowe's.
I think it's Husky, like Pontomaniac was saying.
Husky
Pontomaniac was saying.
Husky is from
Home Depot?
no, from the car, the shit.
I have had
The
some.
auto parts store I was
I
just
have
talking
some
about.
Husky part. I was never disappointed by
Husky.
a Husky
What was it? Or
set.
no, that's Home Depot, I guess. Husky. What are my big black toolboxes? They're Husky, aren't they?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's
I've never been
Home Depot.
disappointed by that stuff. And Cobalt is Lowe's. Yeah.
Cobalt. Cobalt, you can go in Cobalt. Of course, they've gone all over to Craftsman, which is not the old Craftsman, it's the new Craftsman, the red toolboxes. But you can still get their sockets there, I think, and you can get them. They have the sets, but you can still buy the Cobalt single sockets, and they're really good sockets. And they're about $1 or $1.25 each for all the smaller ones that I always, like 10
I
millimeters
would
that
still
get lost.
I would still rather buy a set.
Well, the thing is, you lose one in a set, or you need two. AutoZone is Duralast. It's
Okay.
it could be.
That makes sense.
That's the battery, isn't it? AutoZone.
Well, yeah, that's their branding for all their stuff.
I don't know. Yeah, I do have some AutoZone stuff. I didn't know that, Buff. I'll check it out. Yeah, I really like Cobalt tools, and when I was buying stuff for the government when I was out in Arizona, and the best deal on the best tools, the stuff that didn't break, was the Cobalt stuff. And if we lost something or broke something, you could buy a single socket. So I really,
Well, if you broke something, they'll exchange
yeah,
it.
maybe it depends on where you are, and if you can get it back there. But the Husky toolbox scratch and dent sale seems quite adequate. I bought both my Husky toolboxes on sale, and they're nice, big, long toolboxes with a wood top. Although I wanted to keep the wood nice, and it didn't stay nice. But yeah, it's plenty good enough. And
Hey, Wendy, boy,
when you
you're
say, "Oh,
kind
what
of
time
late.
is it? What time is it?"
It's been more than
Oh yeah.
two and a quarter hours.
So um, the Snap-on toolboxes. What really is good about those, if you have a toolbox bolted to the back of a truck or something, you're out driving in the weeds and over dirt roads and everything, Snap-on box will hold up. It won't break, and it'll work. You start putting cheap toolboxes on a truck like that, and they're not going to
I
hold.
had
But in a
speaking.
shop, like, you know how much we roll those toolboxes around? Almost never. They're
Oh,
right there.
yeah.
The cheaper boxes are fine.
I had an early S10. It had an Iron Duke in it, so I don't know if that was that pre like 87, 88, something
It's the
like
old
that
square
S10,
ones.
right? And I needed a toolbox because I was driving around, and I had a white one, like a white mini truck toolbox with the sides that flip up, and it just wasn't cutting it. I didn't have it. It wasn't dry, and I didn't have enough space for my big toolbox. I was doing plumbing at the time. So I bought a Cobalt job box, right? So it's like 4 foot wide.
Oh, like a gang box?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I put it in the back of that S10 and it wouldn't go in. So I cut the one of the humps for the rear wheels. I cut the both of them out, just notched them. So I had that in there and I bolted that sucker down and it rode around in my truck for a year.
Yeah.
That was an excellent toolbox.
The
It
only-
stayed dry. It didn't really rust. The paint faded. It was bright blue, And everybody was like, "Is that a what do you have in the back of that truck?" I was like, "That's my toolbox." And they were like, "What?" And like, I had everything in there.
Oh, you got
everything.
Power tools, you have everything in there.
Oh man, that box, the contents of that box was worth double what the whole truck was worth. It was so rotten. The doors were falling off. It was so rotten.
Man.
It was a good truck. It was a
She
good
started.
Iron
We're
Duke.
back to food again. Wendy's home from work. Started preparing dinner for tomorrow.
Oh, speaking of food, I'm
Oh, no.
hungry.
Yeah, I'm
We're
hungry.
already over 2 hours. Do you
Yeah, but
feel like this has to be a super long night, or what do you? How you
Well,
feel?
we're at almost 20 after. We can go a little longer, and then we'll go eat. Yeah, I haven't eaten. You know what time is like after 9?
I don't know.
I
We're
haven't
talking
eaten-
about tools.
I haven't eaten anything
Did
today.
anybody watch the DD Speed Shop? They had a Murr and they were doing the podcast. Has anybody listened to their podcast? I think DD Speed Shop is very entertaining.
See,
I was watching their podcast. I mean, I was watching on YouTube, but they do it as a podcast for multiple
thing is,
platforms.
all these channels, like there's so much good stuff. I can't watch it all. I'm heading off, everyone. It's been a pleasure as always. Take care.
Hope to see you next week.
See you later, Iceman. I had half a bruschetta pizza today. Half a pizza. Well, there's pizzas this big. There's pizzas this big. DD Space Shop has cool lives. You know, I haven't watched one of their
I like
lives in a long
Danny.
time.
She's nice.
Um,
Homemade meatballs.
Oh man.
How do you get them to stick together good, Wendy? Do you like fry them a little bit at
You know
first?
what I do? I throw an egg in it.
Well, yeah, but you still have to cook them.
I used to make meatballs in the crock pot, and I'd make them about this big, and then everybody get one meatball. You know, I'd put like 5 of them in there, and they'd sit there and cook forever in the crock pot. Well, they'd cook. I'd take them to work, and they'd cook till about noon, and they'd be done. And we'd all eat them, and they taste kind of like meatball. Oh, I know. I'd put some bread in them too. So I'd put bread and an egg and pack them in. Flour can make them stick. Oh yeah, it's like putting bread. Like I put breadcrumbs. I can't do that anymore. Oh man, eggs and chill before cooking.
Chill. I hadn't thought of chilling them. I mean, it would
Chilling,
be
that means it's gonna. You
cold.
can't do it fast.
It would be cold
Oh, we
from
can
the
make them stick
beginning.
together. Eggs and
Eggs is enough.
eggs
Okay.
hold them together. That's throw an egg in there. More eggs. Yeah, eggs. That's what I say. They should
I
make.
want to make
They should make glue out of eggs, except
stuff
it smell bad.
stuffed peppers with, but they have rice in them, and you can't eat that. But I'm craving that.
Well, make it for you, and that's you know what.
There you go, bread and eggs.
You make something that's whatever you said that's got a bunch of carbs in it, and that's when I'll cook my corned beef. And you don't like corned beef, and I can't have that stuff, so we'll do that. YouTube University has really helped me fix many of my broken things. So many good people helping me. Thanks to share. Watch Dan and Mur. They're good. And Danny is always so. Danny is enthusiastic. Man,
Chipper.
What was she painting? She's painting everything pink. Oh yeah, she's painting the inside of the car pink and blue. I remember that.
Dr. Go, I think YouTube University it's amazing because you learn things you would never ask. How, like, you learn things that you didn't know that you didn't know. You're watching somebody do something and they hit an obstacle, and then they tell you how to get over the obstacle before you've ever even encountered the obstacle. Or like watching, like, anytime I buy a car, I start watching videos about that car because there's just so much that's unique to each different kind of car. And you start learning how things are put together and the mentality of the people that built them and all the intricacies. It's amazing. And a manual just doesn't do it. Decades of experience it takes to get good with this stuff, and YouTube gives it to us like practically for free.
Ponomaniac. Rice and meatballs in the army, we called them porcupines. You know.
Oh yeah, porcupines.
In the military, all food got a new name. SOS, of course. That was probably in World War II. And that was my experience of military food though was pretty good.
Wendy, do you cook the rice before you put it in the meatball? Or do you cook it like half cook it or anything? Dr. Go, if you have more questions about the my audio setup,
there you go. SOS.
yeah, I've heard of that. I'm going to be making a video about that here in the next day or so because I'm really happy. Like I'm actually able to. We're going to start using it, and I have to carry it around in a little camera bag. I've got a little 12-volt battery, like a little motorcycle battery, because you need 12 volts, and I can't have it plugged into the wall. I need to be able to move it around. And then I have all this whole bird's nest of cables to make sure I can hook it all together. But it gives me professional quality sound, finally, for under $100.
Oh, Drab, what's the smiley face for? Somebody said, or I said, or somebody said something. Just smiley face. Just don't know what it's for. I made my meatballs just like my stuffed pepper. Okay. Oh man, that does sound good. Stuffed peppers. Man, I can't eat that though. Oh. What can we stuff it with? We could just stuff it with meat and other vegetables or something. I
Other
don't know.
vegetables, but I mean, vegetables have carbs too. The thing of it is you got to eat some carbs.
She's minute rice.
Found the fix in 5 minutes on YouTube. Oh man, I made a video. It was a short, and it was like, oh, 2.5 years ago of a washing machine. Do you remember the washing machine with the black water in it?
That was before I knew you, and you did a video on it, and I couldn't believe.
It
Oh
was
my
in
god!
a Reno, and the third floor there was a broken pipe, and the water had run down and through 2 floors and filled up the washing machine in the basement, and it had sat in there as full as it could get, like overflowing, and it stunk. It was horrible. And
Oh,
and
Potomaniac
we
was a.
plugged it in and it worked. It just drained right out. I was like, fixed.
You were a cook for 8 years and an air traffic controller for 5.
Air traffic
Wow.
controller sounds like a hard job.
Air traffic controller. Yeah, it depends on where you are. It can be.
Did you ever see Pushing Tin
It can be.
with Billy Bob Thornton and
No. Air traffic control can
that was a good movie.
really be stressful, or it can be okay. It just depends on where you are. I fixed my appliance myself.
I mean, you got to be resourceful in this world because you can't just call the repair people unless you're. I mean, I guess if you're made of money, you can just call the repair people. But we ain't made of money, and I never came from money. So when something broke, you either fixed it or you did without. That's how I got my first car. Is I got a broke down car and I figured out how to fix it. But it was a lot harder to learn before there was like YouTube and stuff like that. I had to just fumble my way through it. I didn't know what tools I needed. I didn't know what
Yeah, I used to take it apart and figure it out. Get a Motors Auto Repair manual,
yeah, but
and it's not as good as going to YouTube now.
I
You go to
know they show
YouTube.
you every nut and bolt on
It's like
YouTube now.
I've done thousands of brake jobs. When I did my brake job on my Ford van, I was up there in the parking lot in Maryland at the apartment, right where we fixed the Jeep, right there. So I went on YouTube, looked at the what I need to put new calipers on it, and I walked out there with the tools I needed, and I never walked in to get another tool. I had everything I needed, and I just did it. Yeah, it was because normally I'm in and out, going back to toolbox, all this kind of stuff, and watching that video is just perfect. Yeah, that should have been my income bracket. If you want something, find a broken one and fix
My
it.
whole life, you just have to. My grown girls fix and bills. You
Oh,
taught him
that's good.
right then.
That's good.
You don't need to. I mean, it's nice to be able to buy things, but I don't want to have to be dependent on always buying something new anytime anything breaks. Like, repair people. I have seen repair people just murder people. Like, people who did not need new furnaces, did not need new water heaters, did not need new dishwashers. They just needed one little part, but instead they sold them on a whole new appliance. They spent 10 times with money they didn't have.
Oh, he was like a different party. He was tactical. ATC, we never did set up beacons. 93J, which I don't know the MOS is in the Army. It's like my son would know all that. Scope dope. I could not remember headings or climb out procedures. You watch the guys that do that stuff, or women, the people that do that stuff. I am amazed that they can. I'm just amazed at how well they know where everything is and what's going on. And even with the scope, it amazes me they're as good as they are. But right now, they got a lot of new people. And, you get one mistake, it's bad. Just hope somebody else picks it up. I don't know. I was a pilot for too long. 30 years as a pilot. That was enough.
You know what YouTube taught me? Or maybe I learned right about the same time I was watching YouTube, and I was so mad that I had never known, no one ever told me, is that rubber brake lines swell up on the inside. You do not know how many old vehicles that I struggled with. I couldn't understand why the calipers weren't working right. I replaced the master cylinder, I replaced the brake calipers. Nothing. I still couldn't get them new brake lines. It never occurred to me that those rubber hoses, even if they didn't leak, that they would
They
swell
close
shut.
up on the inside.
I had so much trouble with that. That gave me the runaround for so many years before somebody's finally explained to me that, like, you got to replace those rubber lines. I'm like, what? Why? And they're like, because fluid stops flowing. I'm like, oh, shoot.
I bought a Mazda, a Mazda MPV van at a car auction, cheap, and we had a hell of a time getting it onto tow dolly because the right front wheel wouldn't turn. We really struggled with it. Got it back up the shop, struggled with it to get it into the shop and get it out of my lift. And you know what's wrong with that? That line to the caliper. I had the caliper off. I couldn't get the caliper off. I undid everything. It was just jammed onto the rotor. But I undid that line, and all of a sudden it come off. It's like, oh, I know what's wrong. And that line was just swollen shut on the inside. I replaced that.
It took me
I
so long to
replaced
figure
that
that
line,
out.
and man, that van drove so nice. But
Man.
that's why it was at the auction, is because nobody had figured it out. It wouldn't go.
And I think sometimes there were a lot of people they wouldn't tell you because they wanted you to pay them to fix it, and they knew it was a cheap, easy fix, and they were going to charge you big money to put new calipers on, new rotors on, the
There's
whole deal.
There's two kinds of mechanics I've been around. Some, everything's a secret. They don't want to tell anybody everything, and they go, all this knowledge that's how you make your money. And there's other people, and I'm one of them, that I explain everything I'm doing. I am pretty free with information, and I still think that got a lot of work because a lot of people don't want to have brake fluid all down their armpit and working on stuff.
Yeah, a
And
lot
I
of people
got a lot.
they don't have the tool, they don't have the technical proficiency to do it.
I was really free with information, and I don't know. I kind of like that. I knew a couple of mechanics back when I was like 16, 17. First had my first car. My father used to go to a gas station, and that guy he was really free with information. He'd explain something to me. And I had a 64 Ford, was my first car. And he put it up on a lift. He goes, see this? You got oil coming back from the drive shaft where it enters in the transmission. He goes, that bushing's probably bad. And he grabbed a hold of it and he goes, see, that bushing's not good and it's beating around in there, and that's why that doesn't seal. He goes, put a bushing and a seal in that. So he could have gotten a job out of me for that, but he told me about it, and there was the guy that I worked for in the wheel alignment shop, a guy named Matt. My son is named after, and he was same way. He was really really open with information. Buff, that's how the Chinese got all their secrets. I don't know. I think they just go out and buy a transmission or something, take it apart,
reverse engineer. Duplicate.
Well, the Japanese did that too for a while. I remember when what were those little Japanese sports cars, the first Datsun 1600s? They looked like kind of like an MGB, and everything inside looked like an MGB, I think they bought an MGB and basically copied it. But, the Japanese they do their own thing. And they became much more inventive, The Chinese, yeah. But, the Chinese don't learn this stuff from me talking. They buy one of something and make it, or they come over here and take it apart and leave it somewhere.
Wiring up those three-way switches. I remember they always used to have those home repair fix-it books and stuff like that you could read that would teach you how to do some of that stuff.
We got a three-way switch in here that's wrong.
Yeah.
And one day we're going to have to shut the power off to it.
I just don't want to go up in the attic.
Oh, no. What we need to do is it's probably wired wrong. I bet that switch is upside down, mounted upside down or something.
Let's hope.
And yeah, you're going to have to run one wire if they don't have, I don't know. I don't know what the problem is.
So many
but there's somebody
three-way switches that were only two poles. They got to have three wires, and there's only two in the wall. So then you had to run an extra wire. So
whoever did that botched it up. So when you one switch works and the other one, when you use that, then nothing works. So we have to not use one switch, which is kind of annoying. So, yeah, was an engineer type. Know a whole lot about things they're supposed to be. Didn't much care to deal with the physical objects. So yeah, there's a lot of engineers like that. I was kind of a practical engineer. I don't have a degree, but I led the design teams on new airplanes, and then at night I'd be down there in the shop building the prototype parts myself. And the guy that I worked for really liked that because I'd be down there on a Friday night, instead of going out drinking or something, I'd be down there building a wing, and making sure everything was done right. And when I run into a problem, something I designed that wasn't working quite right, I'd have to go figure it out, So I did the engineering and the building a lot, at least on the first run. And then it got so we were busy enough that there were a couple people in the shop that I could really count on getting things right. And there was one CNC machinist that was just a genius, and then there was a guy that was extremely good with sheet metal. And the heck is that? So stuff pops up on my screen. So I got so I counted on those people a lot, but man, I was right there with them. A board engineer, zero education. Yeah, I have I have very little formal education. I probably have like a year's worth of college credits from stuff I did in the Air Force. Oh, and then the first when I first got out of high school, I went to a community college for a while, but yeah, I didn't learn anything. It's pretty lame. Um, when I took it's not the ASVAB, but the tests before that, when I went in the Air Force, they had like 4 different sections, and one of the sections was mechanical, and I aced it. It's the only guy I ever knew. It was a possible 95. I had a 95 in mechanical, and that's why I ended up designing my own airplanes and going out and flying them and flight testing, and ended up working in places that everybody I worked with had degrees, but I was there. It was pretty good. When I got out to the desert in Arizona, I really thought I'd made it in life because I was out there flight testing. It was pretty good stuff. I love being around people way smarter than me. Yeah, and that's the other thing you got to recognize is people that have, I don't know if they're smarter, but their brain is focused in a different area maybe than mine. And so I'm then I learn a lot from them. And where I really have that is with the electronics, because I score fairly good on aptitude tests with electronics, but not as much as I'd like to. But man, when I'm hanging around with somebody that knows their way with electronics, I'm really paying attention and really enjoy that. I have a mechanical engineering degree, but I've forgotten almost all my old age. You know, the thing the people that I knew that had aerospace engineering degrees, a lot of those people didn't have much imagination. They couldn't design something new. But if you gave them like a structure and want to know when it's going to break, they could tell you when it was going to break, and they're right. But they couldn't design stuff, and I have an imagination, and I know how to design stuff that uses materials that I can get my hands on. Don't need any special stuff, maybe you need good materials, but available materials. Uh, like a high quality aluminum, for example. Any kinds of intelligence. Yeah, the IQ thing. I don't know. I always said, like, I know people that maybe don't have the highest IQ, but man, do they have an aptitude for one thing, and they're really good at it. Buff Daddy still going. Buff Daddy. Daddy still go. Oh, I see. Probably my greatest electronics feat was replacing the capacitors in my old You know what? I've got an old radio right now, a 40-year-old shortwave transceiver, and it's off by a couple of KCs. And I'm thinking, I was telling Kim last night, we figured it out last night that it was off by a couple of KCs. And it's a radio I had 30 years ago, and now I got it back. And I'm thinking, man, it's probably got some capacitors in there that are starting to have trouble. And that thing has so, it is so heavy, man. I know it's probably got like 20 circuit boards in there, and it's probably packed full. I'm not competent to go in there and do that. I guess I could try, but mostly when I go into something new electronics, I really struggle. Smart to know. IQ test measure your ability to take IQ tests. You know, I took 3 IQ tests that I know the scores on, and 2 of them I scored pretty high, and the other one was not as high. And I always said, you know what the difference is? Either I had a bad day, or the tests were designed differently. You know, so I don't know. If the world were multiple choice, yeah. And there's another thing: multiple choice tests. I'm really good at that, and right now I'm about to take the ham, the amateur amateur radio, the first licensed technician. It's multiple choice. And uh, I've always done real well at multiple choice, so I think I'll probably do okay. If you said it, did not go out getting drunk. There were times I did, but not very often. I can probably count on half a hand how many times I've been really drunk. I told Kim, I think it was twice, that I got to the point where I shouldn't have been. Also replaced the stepper motors on my CN, something like that.
Oh, we're putting Tavo to sleep. Everybody be quiet.
Hey, Tavo, I watched your video today on, what did you just do? I don't know the Valiant, the Australian names. But anyway, I watched your video this morning. Pretty good stuff. I decided to take an IQ test while working my way through much of a fifth of 168. Was it? So multiple choice, multiple guess. Hi, folks. Quick stop by. Good to see you. Hey, I sent you an email, Tavo, about a 62, what looked like a 62 Valiant or Dodge. What's that thing? What's the Dodge called? Lancer. But it had the name DeSoto on it. Well, there were no 62 DeSotos. They pulled the plug on that late in 60 and a 61 model. But then there is in Australia, there it is in a museum, a thing that looks like a 62 Lancer, and it says DeSoto on it. And you suggested maybe it was from South Africa. Could have been, because they're right-hand drive as well. But it did have Australian license plates on it, and I didn't know anything about that. And then you didn't know anything about it. I am just baffled by that. Yeah, look at this. 62 Lancer. Look up 1962 DeSoto, Australia. It asked me to balance my checkbook. Oh yeah, I see. I can do all kinds of fancy math, but I don't enjoy doing balancing a checkbook. I'd let it go 3 or 4 months and then have to. Okay, there's the. That's the one that didn't make it. That was the. Did you put in Australia? Yeah, put in Australia, and then maybe Lancer. Put in Lancer and see if that makes any difference. Something flying low over our house. It says Dodge. I don't know. I sent him a picture, or those DeSotos were South African. Well, but they had Australian license plates or number plates or whatever you call them. Okay, well, it could have been. Very well could have been South African. Surprised how the Mustang gauges failed or went haywire. Oh yeah, that's what it was. It's a Rebel. It was a.
Is that the one?
That's it. DeSoto Rebel. Now, Tavo says he thinks that is South African, which it very well could be. Although the one that I saw, the one that clued me into this, was in a museum in Australia, and it had a Australian license plate on it. So did you put South Africa? I don't know what you're.
Or just put in Rebel so we'd get.
Yeah, I never knew about this. Crazy stuff you learn. Did the other models the same thing? I'm surprised how the Mustang gauges failed. Then okay, so now I got all off track here. I'm prone to arithmetic errors, etc., but can reverse engineer which of several is the right answer. That car with the AU plates would have been private import from South Africa. Okay, and that's of course that's a possibility. The 62 DeSoto is crazy. The 60, well, see, the 61 DeSoto, as far as I knew, was the very last DeSoto, and they cut them off like in November of '60, and you say it was ugly. I loved that car. I remember the first time I saw a 61 DeSoto, that upper grill thing and the fins, and man, I just thought that was the best DeSoto ever, except maybe for the 57. And but a lot of people hated it. Most people say it was ugly. Yeah, I get frustrated when stuff continues to fail.
I was watching
Rebel.
Junkyard Digs. They were working on. They were fixing a
Oh,
Ford truck, and they had to replace stuff in the something with the transmission controller was going bad too. I guess all those electronics only last so long.
The sad thing is like 50 years from now, when we want to restore one of these cars from today, what the hell are we going to do? You're not going to be able to get any of the electronics or any of the modules. Or, I mean, right now,
They're not built to last like that.
Watch that guy up there in New York, South Main Auto. He gets a car that's 07 or 08 and he can't get modules, you know?
Well, the older
now,
cars,
now you got a dead car that's, what, 14 years
the
old?
older cars, you could improvise. You could rob something off a different car and sort of interchange. You can't do that with these newer cars. You'll either have to strip it all out and put something like universal fit, universal replacement, or else just throw it in a crusher and get something else, because that's just the value's not there. The value won't be there when those cars are worn out.
People will make their own computers and programs to run those cars. Well, that's possible.
That's true. They already have do-it-yourself fuel injection kits and do-it-yourself ignition systems.
I have a 1/8 scale die-cast 61 DeSoto. My cast collection is a total of 4 cars. Man, see, that's 61 DeSoto. I don't know. I don't know why I liked it so much. I remember when that thing came out, it's like, look at that. And maybe it was that grill on the top and the hood that I thought was just, looked like something from an airplane, I guess, like an intake.
And then Professor P was, last week they were talking about it, or the week before they were talking about it on their Wednesday night thing.
What's that?
There's a kit you can buy so you can put a distributor like on an LS engine. You can put a Ford distributor on an LS engine, and then you just run points or HEI or something like that.
50 years from now, like we're working on 50-year-old cars. Those cars will be 100 years old. That'll be like, probably not many of those things left.
No.
So a 50-year-old car, 50 years from now, will be like new Mustangs. I bet there'll be like hardly any of them around. Because
there'll be no reason for them. There'll be better cars.
They'll be dead because of electronic stuff when they're 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
I got the hiccups.
Just like everything.
Aftermarket ECUs and sensors, maybe. Yeah, maybe. If any, but there's no money in it. You got a car that's 50 years old. There's no money in that stuff. And that's why we can do well with these 50-year-old cars. There's no money in new parts, but we make stuff and we get stuff off other stuff. And, like a new set of points, most of them aren't any good. You got to Gotta find new old
I mean, it's all
stock.
hobby stuff, anyways. It's arts and crafts, people. We don't make money off of old cars. The only people who kind of make money are people who are restoring really high end stuff. And you got to invest a lot of money to even start with those.
I'm not sure which 62 DeSoto. I think he's talking about the one that's up above there on the far left.
Oh, the one that looks like a crazy fighter jet? This one?
That one. Is that the one you're talking about? That was the same body as like the 62 Dodge. It was the first B body. And that was the proposed DeSoto, but it never happened because they pulled the plug on DeSoto in November of 60. But then it looks like the Rebel, like Tavo says, the Rebel was a trim level of Valiant in South Africa. So apparently they used the DeSoto name. And you know, I saw a DeSoto wagon one time in Norway. Well, it was a website in Norway, and it was like a 62 Dodge, the ones that had the backwards fins, the fins that go forward, and it had the DeSoto name on it. So, you know, maybe they kept that DeSoto name around for a while in, like maybe in Europe and in Africa. I don't know. They were done here though.
Lester LeSabre, if the electronics don't get them, the plastic will. That's true. A lot of the 80s cars and some of the late 70s cars that had a lot of plastic inserts and body panels and stuff like that are falling apart now. But
Oh,
um, we were talking last week, and maybe I'll get a plug in for them just because well, they were very kind to us. We met some people. They were from WAF Racing, WAF Racing, and they're making this these 3D modeling, 3D printing stuff. They can print all these intricate shapes, and it's like nylon.
I don't know what that stuff is. Incredibly
It's
strong.
incredibly strong, and then they have like a 3D scanner, so you can make a 3D model and then print out a
Yeah,
duplicate,
they're
paint
making
it, make it any size you
they're
want.
making like fender tips and stuff for old, like 50-year-old Mopars,
So I mean, yeah,
and they're 3D printing them.
I mean, this is great because you don't have
Dr.
to.
Go, thanks for being here, and take care.
You don't have to order it from off the continent and have it shipped here. So the price should be able to start to come down on this kind of stuff. They make these. They gave us this really cool screwdriver for adjusting carburetors that it index marks on it, and it listen real careful.
It's got little detents in there.
It's got a little detent, so that which is fun. I don't know. You don't need it, but it's neat. And this thing is shaped just right to fit on top of a 4-barrel carb, so you can put your spark plugs in the holes and your screwdriver and so they don't fall down in your carburetor.
We go help Shane at the Land Speed Record stuff. We're taking this.
Yeah, but so you can, theoretically, right now you can order someone to duplicate your rubber and plastic parts with a 3D printer, or you can get your own 3D printer and make whatever
Okay,
you want.
before too many people
Restoration
leave
parts.
here, I want to talk about next week, or not next week, the 28th. The 28th is the last Tuesday every month. I think we're going to have a guest. So anybody wants to be a guest, let me know. Just Buff Del Campo at gmail.com. Let me know, and we'll bring you on as a guest because we'll set up for guests on the last Tuesday of the month.
Yeah, we like to kind of only have like one guest. It'll like be like the three of
Well,
us
or we can
side by side.
We can do two, but we can't do them at the same time.
Right, like one after the other. So like we can have more than one guest, but trying to have a bunch of people on the screen, it just doesn't fit our format for the show, and it's overwhelming for us to kind of wrangle that. So one guest at a time, and maybe more, maybe two, or maybe three at the most. So on the 28th. And we would love to have people on because it's fun to talk about people. The time goes so fast. And yeah, it's hard to, if we missed your comments, it's hard to talk to everyone, to follow everybody's, but it is fun. We really appreciate everybody coming on and just like hanging out and talking about old cars and restoring stuff and projects and food. And it's cool. We like to do it. We don't have to do it. We don't make money doing it. We do it because we like it. You
I'll,
know?
I'll grab WAF Racing, WAF Racing.
Oh yeah, I had them
Go
earlier on here.
go to their website, and you can buy one of those screwdrivers.
And you can see the kind of services
Oh, and they
that
got
they
all
offer.
kinds of stuff. And the reason we met them is because they got some old Mopars, and
Well,
they were parting out a car, and we bought
their
something.
website is WAF Engineering.
WAF Engineering, okay, not WAF
Yeah.
Racing.
So that's what their website looks like. Let me shrink this down.
What is
so
that
it
thing?
fits on the screen. It looks like some kind of 3D design
Okay,
thing.
so if you go there, that's where you can get all this stuff.
Yeah, and they do scanning and 3D printing. And you know, it's like what's that called when you're trying to do something for the first time and it's not really necessarily mainstream yet? Prototype type
Yeah,
service.
they do prototyping.
It's prototyping. But they are local here to Nashville, so it's an American company using American equipment and, you know, they don't I mean, I'm sure that
It's a guy and his wife.
yeah, they were
Guy
really
and his
great
wife
people.
in Nashville that build
Working
Chrysler, but
hard.
they build cars. What they have? They had a Firebird, like a first gen Firebird,
Yeah, it was
and they
nice.
had a Mopar or something. I don't remember what it was.
Oh,
Oh, it's a 70 Roadrunner or 70 GTX or something back there on the lift. So, and then he had a third car in there. I don't remember what it was. So anyway, they're local people, screwdrivers kind of people. Well, you know what? I think we're getting close to 3 hours.
yep. And we need to get some food, and y'all need to get some rest.
And I
Good luck this week with your projects.
And if you want to be on here, let us know. BuffDaleCampo@gmail.com, and we'll get it figured out and get you set up. I think they can prototype a gauge pod for a friend of mine. Oh, I'm sure they could.
Yeah, they could.
Oh, Rick Salmon.
And they're car people, and they're you know, American company trying to find niches that where they can be profitable and you know, work with people.
So I'm ready to say goodnight.
All right, well,
good night, everybody.
Everyone. We had a great time. Hopefully you'll be able to make it again next week. We will be here.
Bruce, did he just come in?
Maybe he's been watching.
Been watching all along. I see you. Great listening. Have a good week.
Maybe we'll start doing it a podcast. All right. Good night.
Okay. Good night.